the officer's chin. The salt water spills out. Doesn't notice. Doesn't care. As she kneels, contemplating her kill. A pair of soft-soled shoes round the corner. A worker making his way home after a long day. Slinking, having to hide in the streets of his home because of a curfew put on him by the people that they are protesting against. He sees the girl, he sees the officer. And there is no change in the speed of his gait or the sternness of his gaze. Could have happened to anyone's child.
Blasted black liberals. Laufen Sie genau jetzt! Für Scheiße. Für unglaubliche Scheiße. Amerikaner können sie nicht. Scheiße. Scheiße. Scheiße, 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 scheiße. Was ist denn los, Jungs? Bin ich verrückt?
To a week after our first adventure, our first assignment, you returned the serious man to the antiquarian, to your champion house, where Lightkeeper Nakari took over the situation immediately, tending his wounds, looking at all of you and your various states. And there's something to a little bit of protocol. Candela is a distributed network, yes, but there are rules. And some of you, with the looks on your faces,
Regeln?
he knows. They know. You're a little too
Hollywood gibt es keine Regeln mehr.
Maybe some of you, the ones that live here, shouldn't be around while this figure recovers. They send you off. They will call for you, summon you back here, if and when there's sufficient recovery so that you...
The compound eye that has started to develop has given me a bonus to sight. So I'll add that to service.
Wer ist in Kontrolle hier? Die Frage ist.
Cannot imagine that you don't all have a lot to talk
Dungeon Master natürlich.
I will step back for the moment and leave you to it.
We're good.
Great.
Und du bist der! Oder der bist du, oder ich bin der.
Nakari has
Nee,
tended
sind
to
diese
this
hier.
gentleman in
Ganz genau.
Yes.
and sent us away.
Yes.
So I would venture to guess that we'd be staying with you for the time being.
I've welcomed all of you into my home, I suppose.
Trink Deutsch, halte Gedanken.
Madame Glass is back in her office, keeping herself busy so that she could take her mind off of this as much as she possibly can. She's been counting money, she's been checking on the girls, just anything she can to keep herself busy. You're all welcomed to stay in any of my extra rooms for as long as you need. Please make yourself at home.
You've got a bunch of houses. Maybe you want to use one of them, or are you going to stay with us in the red light?
Also die Piano sagt, dass ich nicht spielen kann? Wie magst du das? Du bist der Experte. Ich bin der Alumni. Und ich verstehe das.
Stay apart for a while.
I would suggest that that night was so dramatic that perhaps everyone took some time to themselves to collect their own thoughts before speaking, but and correct me if that is wrong. But eventually, after a day or two, Cosmo would have summoned you all and arranged a meeting to clear the air. Too many secrets.
Well, I feel guilty about not telling you, Madame Glask, about what I knew and about the dangers. You hired me to protect you and to protect your business. And I just didn't think it was my place to share other people's business, that's all.
Of all people, I think I would understand that the most. So you're not entirely to blame. However, from now on, no more.
I mean, I have no more secrets.
Would you care to explain the one was revealed before?
Oh. I mean, I can try, but honestly, I don't really understand it myself.
We might be able to fill in any gaps.
Yeah, that would help.
Oh man, that's
I,
kind of cold actually.
a while
Who's
ago,
the DM here?
a long while ago,
7 years ago.
Weil es die Kamera gibt.
it was a different life and a different
Ich bin
time.
unschuldig davon.
We were on a trip, returning from, don't remember anymore, but we were on a boat, a ship, at sea, and
You had been performing with the circus.
that's right. I was
Da gibt es eine
I was
ganz
something
hohe
of a performer.
Musik unten alles.
That's right. I was
Das ist ganz
I was the Great Grimm.
das ist so. Ich hatte
Our
die Idee, ich könnte
family
das
name
tun.
had been something else, but I changed it to be on stage. And I was there with my family, my wife and
Ich kann nur hören
son.
und hoffen,
Maybe
dass
some others.
manchmal ein Tag wir werden zusammen
Players.
spielen.
And your brother, Quentin.
Genau.
I guess so.
Die haben das Stephen Colbert daran.
I remember.
Warum nicht ich?
My son, Cosmo.
I've not been 10 for very long. It was nice traveling with my father, our family. I liked to watch all the performers. You and jugglers,
Oh, okay, that was weird.
magicians. It was a good life.
Stimmt sich.
Another one.
Magic Club Los Angeles, yeah. Robert Zephyr and all
Something
of
happened.
us
Something with that man.
plotting the end of the world together.
It was late. It was dark. He looked the same age. His face pulled tight. His skin too clean, too healthy, like a mask. He did something, some of that magic that Candela's always talking about.
Yes,
Cat
he appeared
magic.
on the ship. Out of nowhere. At sea, it wasn't a very large boat at all. He performed some sort of ritual that day.
That's right. You were there, right?
you really not remember?
Was machen die Leute wieder geworden, Jungen? Sie müssen sehr wichtig
Strain
sein.
and stress of feeling around like a loose tooth.
Dankeschön.
Things that you don't remember.
There were symbols, runes, drawn with salt and sand.
Nur ein Dialog, mein Freund.
I don't remember it all.
Ein wunderschönes
but I
Dialog
do.
über
I don't
die
understand.
Wahrheit unserer Seelen.
Whatever he did sundered the ship. It split down the middle and began to sink. You tumbled down toward the center. Whatever he was doing.
Mit dem deutschen Kommentar von der Robin Kaczmarczyk. Na, Scheiße.
To you. And we lost Mother and Iris and your brother.
What's her name?
Das
Cora.
klingt.
Your wife was Cora.
You don't remember.
There's a lot of me I don't remember anymore. Or has been taken from me.
Is this the reason why you came back after what Elsie did?
Ever since that day, that event, whatever he did, it filled me with a great feeling of, I don't know, but it felt wrong, and it felt good.
Yes. A great power. When my sister was thrown to Ma, I found her digging. Ma used my twin sister and I to try to open a gate. A serious man saved my mother. She was on death's door and he brought her old fair artifacts that saved her life, but at great cost. It sounds like you have also paid a terrible price for his meddling.
I don't think whatever he did was intentional to me. Maybe I was just in the wrong place at the right time. But ever since then, I keep coming back, and I never change.
I have spent many decades studying antiquity, and the pages of history are riddled if you look hard enough, with stories that suggest people like you, even like you. I do not believe in coincidence. Take that for what you will.
I don't have any right to be angry. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't either of you tell me?
I mean, to be honest, and the boy doesn't like to hear this. I'm done. I've given up.
What do you mean?
We've been trying for a century to fix me. And it's just not going to happen.
You don't know that.
I'm convinced that there are others like him. Obviously,
Redemption.
the gentleman at the antiquarian who looks not a day older than when we first saw him. And in history as well.
should have. When you have a son, you should not outlive them. I've been a burden to my boy. I just want I want this burden to end. But at the same time, he's the only part of myself that I remember anymore.
Elsie, Miss Glask, a very large reason why I never shared this is because I am all but positive that Candela will lock him away. It is only because of my years of service that they have tolerated his freedom as long as they have, and I have used these decades trying to find something, anything, to help him, and though I am not afflicted with his condition, I too feel stretched. Tired. And I tried for a very long time to honor my father. Perhaps that is foolish, perhaps. A fool's errand.
But one thing's for certain. If the ascendancy or the periphery were to learn about your gifts,
Oscar, if life is your curse, then perhaps living is the cure.
I've tried that. But every joy that I've ever had is taken from me. Every love that I've ever had, every family I've ever known. I outlast them. I forget them. Or they die.
Let's just be. For a little while longer, at least.
But, turns out I'm not the biggest freak of our group. No offense.
oh, none taken.
I mean, you've got all
Hier
sorts
ist
of
ein
problems,
Kommentar von nur die Deutschen.
but also supernatural ones.
Die Amerikaner und die Engländer verstehen das nicht. Nur die Deutschen und die Mexikaner vielleicht.
It would appear that most of our secrets are out in the open now.
Heißt Teller.
They're just buzzing around.
Zimmermann, Zimmermann, ja, Zimmermann.
Were you always? Since I've known you?
Freiheit, Krieg,
I didn't know how to
Liebeshasse.
broach the subject, and I'm sorry that I kept it from you. But it seems that everyone here had good reason for keeping their secrets to themselves.
I don't understand you.
I don't either.
Go ahead and take a beast pool token for me.
What?
You two were together, right?
First time?
This never came up.
I've always asked. Everything he shared with me was like a knife in him.
What was I going to say? What was I going to show you that would make this all right?
Then
That wouldn't
why?
send you running, screaming.
Then why did you get close to me at all? I could have helped you.
Little bird. The good doctor. Always always looking to fix the things she loves. But sometimes your subjects don't want to be fixed. And that's just a hard truth that some of us have to live with. I wish it were different. But it's not.
Miss Glask, you're awfully quiet.
I want to know, Oscar, this sea god that you came about meeting,
Sea god?
the gods of the sea, that gave and been taken away from you.
Oh, I don't know anything about that. It was a man.
I do. Where I'm from, we worship the gods of the sea. This fine establishment that I have was a gift from them. Well,
From the gods.
yes, with a fair trade.
Delightful.
And the reason why I'm alone now.
What did you trade?
Any sense of home. My family, all of them. With the promise of riches. And so, again, I say, perhaps living is the cure. Because the gods of the sea are fair.
Gave up your family for all this?
Not knowingly. I prayed for peaceful waters and wealth in a new world, but I didn't know that came with a price.
And that price seems fair to you.
Who am I to question a god?
Well, here we all are. Ripe with secrets. And heavy with baggage. We ought to form a circle.
Yeah. It's a pretty fucked up circle. You brought us together.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
You must have known. What about us? What about them?
Well, you and I knew about Dr. Roberts.
Yeah.
I always knew this lad was a little trouble, but you managed to hold your cards close to the vest, son.
He's good at that.
I'm not the only one here who kept their fair share of secrets.
My mind always comes back to fate. There's no reason, no logical reason why we should be bound together like this. It's undeniable.
You hear a small knock, very quiet, at the door. Faint enough that anyone else might miss it in the throes of serious conversation, but you and Queenie have an understanding. And you know when she seeks to interrupt you, it's important.
Answer, Quinny.
She pushes the door open and is holding a small letter sealed with a little lighthouse and a flame. This is for all of you. Just gonna, thank you. And she lays it on a table beside the door and closes the doorway. She's not gonna cross to come into the room.
They have a little stamp. That's cute.
I go over to the table and open up the letter that I read aloud.
It is a very brief missive from Lightkeeper Nakari on behalf of Candela, simply stating that though it had only been a day, a serious man, and here they use the name Torin Gevni, is awake, and before he is to be transported to the fourth Pharaohs, he is to make your peace with him.
Oh boy. I mean, we've been looking for this guy forever. I trust you have as well.
Not nearly as long as you.
Well, should we go find out if he's a magician or a bug or a god?
Oh, yes. I think we can learn a lot in an hour.
If you're gonna do that thing, you just give us a warning, because it's really fucking creepy.
I don't think I'll need to.
Strangely beautiful, though.
Oscar, if you do get answers or a solution, what will happen to you? To Cosmo?
I can only hope that whatever happens to me is fast and painless, and that he gets to live some of his life without me.
And from there, we cut. It takes you 20 minutes to cross through the districts, cross the river, get back to the antiquarian, your home, your chapter house, the site of this interrogation. It begins to rain outside a little bit. Gray, the same, and oppressive. And you walk in to the back room. Everything else is shut down. Eloise is sort of tidying up the front edifice, though the sign is closed. This is as close as you get to lockdown here. And sitting in front of you, in the little room, in a plush green velvet chair, the back wall, sits the serious man, Torin Gevni, who regards you all and seems constrained somehow. There's no fight in him, no urge to flee out of the back door or the front. He seems stuck, like a cat.
Meow.
Is he bound?
No. Lightkeeper Nakari greets you in the front. You don't have very much time, and I've done what I can to usher his compliance in. And I think it's very easy to see that they look very strained, as though weariness has taken over, and whatever workings were required to get the serious man's compliance wear heavily on a lightkeeper who is already so close to being pushed too far. They take a seat in the front and keep an eye out of the window for the approach of a car to take Torin away. Look.
Lightkeeper, Professor. This Torin Gevni appears to have not aged for almost a century. Have you ever encountered anything of the such?
I'm happy to speak to that, unless you would like to.
Read of accounts from centuries past. I have reason believe that people like these gentlemen walk amongst us, possibly.
It is a rare thing. We call them what they call themselves, unabridged. Through great and terrible alchemical workings of unknown cost. They
Mexico
extend
and the
their
United
lives
States acting
indefinitely. They can be
independently
killed,
of their own
but other than that,
trade deals
if left uninterrupted, they will not
through a
perish of
single
age or disease.
program.
An important differentiator between some other interesting
I
phenomena
like it.
that Candela has encountered.
Chicago
And with
Nation is
that,
not
they
so
kind of
far
scan
after
the
all, is
group
it?
just to see
That's
if
the
anything
problem.
was given away. It is
The
very
game is
obvious
up.
to all of you looking at them that,
And
like,
the power
they're
brokers of the game want
aware
to
of
survive
Oscar's
the reset.
condition, but they don't know how
These
much
are
you
the
know.
new power brokers, and they don't even know it.
I'm fairly certain that there have been
Amazing.
these folk walking this world at least as far back as the height of old fair and beyond.
Zimmerman, Junge.
There's no need in
Deutschen
talking
Alten
around.
Danken.
He's right here.
Stimmt.
Please, I cannot hand off a corpse, but I think, given what I know of some of your connections, anything short of that is just
Ich bin besser als Politiker.
rough pass.
Schreiber. Als Schreiber habe ich auch endlich.
And with
Ich
that,
bin ein
Nakari, who has been
Gutschreiber.
so
Sehr
cold
gut
to you,
Schreiber.
gives you just a little nod, as if to say,
Oh gut.
were it not for the thing I
Himmel.
have to be here for all of you, I'd understand where you're coming from a little bit more. And regains their
Scheiße.
composure, and again retakes their seat in the front.
Ich werde total
keeping an eye out
verrückt
for the
worden.
approach of
Nicht das Problem.
So they're out of the room.
They're out of the room.
Sabarimutu, I have a lifetime of questions and wouldn't mind a few more moments to select the ones I'll ask in this short amount of time. If you would like to begin.
Seid jetzt kurz.
You've been waiting much longer than I have. And I think before we begin, I need to ask one thing. I don't understand the connection between a serious man and Director Greenvale at Grey Slate. Oscar and I were outside. Did you find anything of use?
Nee.
I did. I'm gonna say that maybe I shared it with Cosmo already
Yeah,
in the
okay.
intervening time.
Yes, if you had a day to share those letters, you would have seen that there was a stack of 3 of them. They were written in ancient Farron. And the interesting thing is the stack of what's happening. Literally translated, the letters speak very plainly and succinctly about another shipment of Nighthawk being delivered in order to prolong the director's vigilance.
Do
And-
I know what magic is?
Nightcock?
Is it a drug or like a...
Give me, give me
What's
a
some
little focus
drow?
roll on that.
Are we all allowed to?
Come.
It's a group, if you want to, there's no group checks here. If you want to bolster Elsie's
Yes,
roll.
because we discussed it.
Okay.
Yes.
I did make a...
That's okay.
I did make a shitty roll, so I'm gonna add one of more.
One drive.
If you want to add to this roll too, I will allow you to tack on.
I realize I have no drives to give.
Oh no!
What are you rolling?
Fails across the board.
Let's get our drives back.
But we do get our drives back, yes.
Oh, because
That's a fun.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Fortune fire is so cute.
Mama needed a drive.
While this is being discussed, I will take a moment to step aside and remind Lightkeeper Nakari that someone should secure Grey Slate Director Greenvale is a person of
Meow.
great interest, and if
Meow.
I'm not mistaken, action
Meow.
will be taken to secure
Meow, 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 meow,
evidence
meow,
as
meow,
well.
meow, meow,
And
meow.
if we don't move quickly, it will be lost on
Meow.
us.
Meow.
Understood.
Not to mention
¿Quieres
the fact that they were trying to
sexo
hammer
con el
their way
blanquito,
into
verdad,
some sort
cabrona?
of passage with a human criminal.
I'm a teenage cat.
Dark days indeed.
Is there anything else in the papers?
Yes. So
What am I going to do? I'm going to have cat babies
that
again.
substance draws a tidy blank because it is
Play
so
the
obscured. It's
cats.
not in the like normal lexicon
Meow.
of chemist tinctures and potions. But they're very matter of fact. I will
Meow.
return at the end of the week. I require 2 more bodies. The frailty is a problem.
Meow. Meow. Meow.
But the thing that's layered on top,
Meow.
because you felt it too without having to understand the ancient Farron, is that reading them, your eyes sort of glancing across the words, you felt a different kind of story. Very racy note of love and longing and passion that inspires in your mind
Pasó, Ashton.
the never
¿Qué
memories
hacemos con la mira, cabrón?
as you read.
Solo loca.
Like in my mind?
Anyone that reads the letter,
With a specific person?
very specifically, the beautiful version of
Ashton.
Right.
Hey.
Sister.
Corre de ahí, cabrón.
Who wants to begin? Time's ticking.
Abusas,
5 minutes
I
left.
Abusas.
suggest that you begin, because when I begin, I don't know that the serious man will be able to give you the answers that you seek.
Let's take him.
Cara.
Godot, come.
La mira, no tuya, cabrón.
Pops up. Isn't really reading the vibe of the room. So happy to be here. Tugging on your tweed, licking your face.
I actually have some questions for the serious man. Everyone else is prepared to speak.
Please.
Have at it, Doctor.
I'm going to approach him, visibly nervous. How have you elongated your life in this way?
Of rituals known only to those with access to the old ways.
What do you mean, the old ways?
In Old Fair, long ago, there were many alchemists of great renown. Secrets began with them, protected by the Empress herself,
There's one way
by Menai,
to understand
the everlasting.
Candela Obscura, and that's the 420 guys. For sure.
How did you get access to this information?
A book. One that you have no hope of reaching. Sorry. The Auric Tome.
Watching this questioning, picking up on Torin's hunger or
I hadn't smoked in a while.
growing rage, and
Feels good.
are they on the verge of attacking us or?
My cats.
Give me a read roll.
Yes, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah. You.
What?
What?
No, I'll let it
What's going on, man?
Okay. think I know what you're going for, and I'm happy to oblige. As you lean in, trying to figure out what's going on, what is this mood? You're getting closer to a person who has stacked so much magic on themselves that they are a phenomena in and of themselves. Please take one bleed.
Yes.
As you search.
Yes.
I've taken quite a few bleeds myself, you know.
Madame Glass
Kiddo.
wants to approach you. She wants to understand if it really was her gods that helped. I mean, that took from her, or was this just the magic, the same magic that's here that affected everyone else?
Are you trying to interrogate him or get a sense of it via a connection with the occult?
I want to ask him a question.
Oh, sure. He sits there, continuing to writhe.
Was it you that night?
She's calling for the white cat.
The one that spoke back?
White cat was calling for her earlier.
The one that took
Not for me, for the white cat.
everything
I'm jealous.
from me?
You.
Teenage cat.
You watch him as he wants to spit something cruel and mocking. Can't. I don't know you. I've never met.
Madame Glass kind of sinks back, heartbroken.
Teeth are kind of yellow.
This turn. Where is it?
Good, healthy color.
I am not its keeper.
But you know its secrets. How?
Jen, I didn't want to interrupt
Yeah.
anyone, but
Yeah, you
one
want
of
to go back?
my weird abilities is that whenever you take one or more bleed marks, you also gain additional information about the phenomenon that harmed you.
Ooh.
Ask Abria one question about
It's
the
so
source.
specific.
That's what it says.
Wild.
The source of the bleed.
Spencer.
My one question is, how old is this individual before me?
When you get this kind of information, you've done this before, this is a part of who you are. How does it come to you? Is it a whisper or a vision?
It's my eyes roll a little bit, and I cease to sense the room around me, and I have flashes,
A flash.
visions.
A flash. And he walks beside the architect.
TV static.
Great
Black
war.
and white static.
A flash. And there he walks. Another war, a civil war. Before that,
Black and white static.
again and again, he was there
Other side
when
of blood.
circumstance forced
Huh.
humanity to flee,
Curious.
circumstance and flood back into the fairlands, to flood back in and rebuild new fair on the bones of the old.
Huh.
A flash, older still, a time between modernity, when the memory of old fair still rang in this part of the
Curious.
world. There was no hope of a return to glory. Close enough to remember if the stories were spread. Closer to Ayamene than to now.
Hearts and minds. How many hearts do you need from Mexico? I mean, minds. Hearts and minds. The
3
minds
times.
is definitely
You have been involved in some sort of cursed events.
Emperor, the Emperor.
My sister, whatever's
Baldur's
happening
Gate
up
3,
there is
the
fate.
Emperor.
And on
It's
Oscar's ship,
actually a script, isn't it?
what is it you seek? What are you trying to
It
achieve or
took them a long
find?
time to build it, and they had a lot of smart people doing it. I gotta get that game.
And that's The truth of it,
play
you see it in this
Black
moment. He is not
Street 3, you know.
trying to strike. That a little bit, but he is fighting with everything in him from long millennia of life to resist the compulsion to divulge the secrets that he has kept longer than New Fair has
Holy
existed.
shit. That's why.
He can't fight it. Some magics are too strong.
Holy camole.
I seek the
The
rituals
fuck?
of Ayamene. 5. If held a new empire, it will not fall as the old did. Callanus, in his stupidity, dethroned her, cast her, locked her away. And in 2 years, Old Fair, the greatest empire this world has seen, was gone.
Oh no, where?
A secret place of forgetting.
That's why you were digging.
This is the Empress you spoke of earlier.
Ayamene.
You think you've found her resting place, do you?
If she was like me, she did not die. If she was like you, she could not. So she lies there, still, eternal, unblinking, waiting. She served a purpose. She held her world together, took the bleed that rotted.
The Ayamene's contemporary. Tell me, it has been almost a century since you and I last laid eyes on each other. Do you remember me? My appearance has changed some.
I don't know you.
Do you remember him?
I'm just seething in the corner, just clenching my fists.
You, I know. You spoiled a great gift. Spoiled a great gift. Wasted on you. Wasted on you.
A gift. I'm going to step forward and throw out my overcoat a bit and reach in and pull out a length of chain that I keep tucked in the lining. It's about 4.5 feet long, and I'm going to stride over to this man, and unless he resists, I'm going to whip it around his neck and pull tight.
Think about what you're doing.
I'll loosen it just enough so that he can get out words.
Easy boy. Easy.
All of this is fascinating for you Candela people, but I could give 2 shits about empresses and caves, and all I want to know is how to fix me. And it seems like you're under some sort of magical spell, and if you don't know the answer, I'll know. And then I have no more use for you.
Oh, shit.
Do it.
Tell me how to fix me.
I do not know.
Then I'll pull tight as I can and start to strangle him.
Oscar.
Yeah. Give me. I'll let you decide Is this strike or control?
Strike seems fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive.
That's cool improvisation, guys.
I'm gonna
That's
move to try to stop
that
him
is
once
the
I get
ultimate
there.
art form. I love
I will
it.
say,
You guys are brilliant.
Knowing your
Fuck the
particular
world.
kid,
I love Critical
you
Role.
have an ability that could bolster.
Oh, I do, because I'm using this chain.
Mm-hmm.
You're goddamn right. Okay. Yes, I do have a. We modified an ability from the soldier page called sharpshooter, but now let's call it hard hitter.
Yeah.
And it gives me an extra 2 dice when I do some chain shit.
Now, about the rules of Candela
So I gotta stop.
Oscura, for a lot of criticisms about them, I go with the narrative
I need
view
you
of
to
it.
take
The DM is
a
God,
break,
and God can roll any dice that the fuck he wants.
because this feels so right,
Yeah.
so good. 33 scars,
And fuck the
a,
world.
a life too long lived, 32 avenged. What's the last one?
The last one is a scar I do not wear on my skin, but it is part of me and has been for 90-ish years. And this man is responsible for it. And every scar hurts, but they hurt a little less when you get revenge. And so I will squeeze tighter still.
Can I try to speak to him?
Go ahead.
Oscar, he doesn't know how to fix you. That doesn't mean he did it.
You caused this.
You don't know that. He
He
said
was
it was
there.
a gift. He's jealous of your gift. That means he didn't give it.
I want him to suffer just as much as you do. But Candela has access to resources that we do not. Perhaps, if we keep him alive, we can find information on these rituals of Ayamane and find a way to cure you.
You can't kill him anyway.
He throws himself forward out of the chair.
Keyword Q1.
He cannot hurt any of you. He must answer your questions. But what he seeks in this moment has nothing to do with hurting any of you. He
Somebody's
will throw
having
himself
sex.
forward violently in hopes you have held your chain tight enough to allow him to choose his own.
I mean, I'm holding it pretty tight.
Yeah? No roll required. He throws himself forward as you reflexively, hold firm, trying not to lose a grip on him. It's just enough. The angle's just right. And you hear a little crack. And he goes slack
Bermuda.
in your arms. The unabridged.
Sí,
You
ya sabemos
remember
lo que es
now.
esto.
It's not that they can't
Pero ya
die.
cálmate tus besos. Chígate, loca.
They can die. Just not without a little help.
Meaning what?
They can be killed.
Yes.
If they are left to their own devices, they'll live indefinitely.
Yes.
But if an act of violence is enacted on them, they can be killed. That's the fundamental difference, that and the shadow, between what they are and what your father is.
I think I'm stunned then, because the only real world evidence I've had is my father.
You can put it together now. Why Candela watched without intervention, why they took advantage of moments of his fury and foolishness to get him caught, locked in the brink, under watchful eyes, brokering deals, so that you would be responsible for him and they could watch him, because he is not a known factor. The rituals that made him are different than the ones that made the unabridged.
Oh, Oscar.
Still sort of locked in. I'm just still holding the chains as tight as I can, and I step on his back to just pull it even tighter.
I lay my hand on him, Oscar.
I just kind of reflexively turn and then stop because I don't want to hurt her.
I'm sorry you didn't get your answers, Oscar.
What's going on with the computer, man?
He's done.
He had more information to give Oscar, and not just for you.
What?
Take a
What
token.
information? You didn't know shit.
He's lived for centuries.
He didn't know anything. He was talking about emperors and bullshit in the past. And a book. You heard him. He said he didn't know where the book is.
Where is the book?
He had dealings.
Yeah, Scanlan.
He had dealings with Rajan. Oh dear.
God damn it.
We'll have to hope that Greenville can provide some insight.
What's done is done, at least.
Huh.
But we do know
Greenville
someone
knows
below
everything, my friend.
There's more answers there.
It's the only lead
Take a breath.
in 90 years. Oh,
In this room, as everything goes quiet, as all of the focus on the serious man, this Gevney, is dissipating as he leaves this room and this world and this life. You notice that on a side table, normally covered in a well-polished pewter tea service and flowers and various objects that Eloise carefully maintains, all that's been cleared away. There are 3 objects sitting there. Stands to reason that perhaps these were the contents of Mr. Gevney's person when you brought him.
Of course.
I think because you had him literally slung over your shoulder. One of the objects, a ornate gold, solid gold doorknob.
Makes sense,
covered
makes
in
sense, makes
symbols
sense.
and strange geometries and markings. Makes sense
3,
now because you
4,
couldn't help
and
but
5th way
feel
conversations going on
But besides that,
between what's on the
a
TV,
little syringe
what's on the wood,
that reminds you vaguely
the
of
neighbors,
a bleed containment vial
yeah,
with a needle and a plunger.
and Candela
And
Oscura.
the third, an ornate knife that reminds you, with only minor differences in detail, of your decorative dagger that you keep in your chair.
What was the first one again?
A doorknob.
See if in my studies I noticed that any of these objects might be in some way related to his longevity.
Go ahead in study. So go ahead and give me a focus roll.
Did you say there were markings on them? Runes of some sort?
Runes all over the doorknob, nothing on the syringe, and the knife is decorative but doesn't have any thing that would appear to be writing.
You gotta quit.
What?
oh yes.
Is that 2 6s?
Well, I guess no, huh?
If
I
it's
keep
just
forgetting
1
what a
6,
crit is.
yeah. If it's just
Sorry.
1 6, it's a full
got
success.
excited. It was
That's
a full
okay.
success.
You know what?
I was just trying to see if any of the objects relate to how he has such long life.
Going through and thinking back to anything you've ever heard, even back to maybe things that you and Raj in better times would discuss, because he's a big old nerd for archaeology. None of these objects seem to line up to anything that you've heard or would know are associated with a long life. But I will say that they do feel the weight of them, even as you inspect them, they are deeply magical, but maybe not tethered to that, and more be like things you can acquire over a very long life. And out of all of the things you could acquire, what are the things that you keep on you?
I am going to wheel over and see if I recognize any of the markings on either the knob or the familiar looking knife.
I'm gonna have you make, go ahead and give me a sense roll if you're trying to use your occult abilities, or focus if this is just a sort of like academic study. But I will say, as you take this up, you hear a tinkle like of the small bell that signals that the door to the shop is being opened.
You sense, because it is quicker.
Yeah.
And I will burn 2 drives.
Great.
Oh dear. It's a 6, not on the gilded.
Okay. 6. You're just trying to get a general sense of what these are, yeah?
Yes, yes.
It's easier to start with the one that lines up with the thing you are familiar with. Your knife, for as long as you've had it, it's always seemed ornate and beautiful.
Speedy Gonzalez was cancelled.
And I feel like you can see it.
So
The
was
way the
Pepe Le
blade
Pew.
seems to have the edge that you know.
And
the
now Mickey
dagger.
Mouse
It's
is public
almost like
domain.
an after image, like your eye blurring out of
Interesting.
focus. A second edge. It's meant to cut into something else, not to harm, but more like a stylus. And you think of old Farron before paper was developed. They would carve sigils and words and tallies and marks into warm wax to keep them.
I understand now. Ha ha!
Here and around that. But there's nothing in this room, here now, save for the symbols on that doorknob.
I love those little lights out thingies. And it's not me, actually.
Second,
It's my
I'll give you
computer.
the syringe that looks like a bleed containment vial becomes quite apparent. That
You look
in
so
the
much
same
like
way
my
that you have a
father.
little vial to
Liam,
grab something,
That
to hold
no,
bleed,
it's
to protect it
just
from getting
outrageous.
out. The
You're doing a
addition
good Omar.
is very old technology
Yes.
of the ability to suck something up or out. It gives a sense of the medicine of it all, and you see it. You plunge this needle into you, and when you would incur a bleed, it gets transferred to the vial instead.
Ooh.
And now you have a loaded vial of bleed you can put somewhere else.
Old thing, was it?
An old thing. And perhaps it is the design of that was taken and changed and turned into what Candela and eons and other esoterica used to contain. But they never quite figured out the trick of pulling bleed and pushing it.
Just a fresh bit of antiquity for you, Doctor.
And perhaps a wonderful bit of first aid for our doctor here. May I use a focus check to see if, on the doorknob, I remember any old nursery rhymes, songs, poems, or folklore involving travel or tessering, anything of the sort?
Go ahead and give me a focus roll.
So if it's gilded, I immediately take a gilded for one of those.
Yes, and if you take the gilded result, you get a drive back. If you use the drive in the roll.
So 6 on the gilded.
Let's go! Amazing. Yeah, with that, you cycle through hundreds of stories and lores and snippets. There's lots of stories about ways to travel through the world, of knobs and doors that can be opened to move into places between places. But the more you stare at it, the more you focus.
I can't focus.
Sometimes it's not about travel. Sometimes it's about a place to be, and the ornateness of the knob reminds you of some of the expeditions you made, especially when you were a student, going down to the more well-trodden places in Old Fair, the homes and buildings of high officials and arcanists and alchemists and magicians. But they would have a doorknob much like this that would open into private studies, places to hold things. And then your mind aligns. Centuries of life, and you only carry 3 things. What if you weren't only carrying 3
I should have
things?
left the light on downstairs.
You had everything you ever needed the whole time.
Powerful tool.
It's at this point that Nakari peeks their head in. It seems that the kid. I asked for one thing.
Just coiling up the chain and putting it away, and just seeing everyone's face, and especially Cosmo's. I just sort of turn away and face the wall, ashamed.
Our apologies, Nakari.
I bet you that the box band could have probably some of the better ones. And what happened to
Give me,
the red?
just in the quietness of that, in the lack of spinning up a story or an excuse, a raw moment, and respecting a person's intelligence enough to not try to bullshit them into misinterpreting what is obvious and true. Sway roll.
What is
Sway roll.
Nothing obvious.
Two and Gilbert.
Except that I love you.
I will say,
Yes?
I will add on, if you want to add on to the die, that this is a high stakes roll. How this goes will determine the next few minutes. So if you wanted to use a drive, I will allow you to add it now because I didn't quite get that out before you roll.
I don't need it. I have a 6.
Okay.
On a non-Gilbert.
Okay. With a full success, Kari pauses, takes you in, and settles something in the back of their mind.
Holy camole!
They knew what might happen with this group. And again, all of this snaps back to the last great favor they could offer a very old friend.
Please don't lock
No,
my
no,
boy away. We found out enough. We
yes,
will find out more.
it's okay. Hey, if asked, things happen. And a being like this likely could not be held long by my voice. Strong though they once were. You acted in self-defense. And unfortunately, he was recovered without anything of consequence on him. And their eyes flash over to the table.
You're too kind to me, Nakari.
I owe you more than I can repay. But this will now be less of a sort of extreme. Now that we're disposing the body, I must inform you that something has happened. And I know you all are in the middle of something desperately important to
Ven a mis
yourself.
pies, gato.
But
Caliéntame las patitas. Ven a mis pies.
and they go into an explanation
At least she's home.
of
Close that
groundswell
door.
and the protests that have been happening because of the surge of cullet. There's been rumors that the groundwater, the water that's being sent there in some of the poorer districts is tainted by something in Westrek. So they want access to clean water, and the only clean water in this district is found at the bottom of an ancient well that has stood at the far edge of Calanus Market since Old Fair was above ground and unflooded. This is a great tourist destination and area of note and acclaim for New Fair. And the fact that now it's being used by the public, by a certain kind of public. There are people higher up in the city who do not enjoy that the beautiful history of New Fair is being despoiled by such base use as access to clean water.
This affliction, what was it again?
It's called, conventionally called cullet.
And that's the same one, let's see.
Yes.
As in your studies, is there any connection to the onset of the disease with tarnished water?
What if
You, in your studies, when you discovered and eventually got
Bigfoot is just
sickened
a
by cullet,
very
it was
hairy,
because
smart guy?
you were one of the
Just
first
for a
people
long
to
time.
link it to a poisoned ground. Westrack was the closest the last Great War ever got to the city, and it's where the electric event that ended the war took place. But you were the one that realized Otherwhere had their own kind of weapons, biological, gases, and whatever they were using in the throes of war sunk into the dirt and made its way down, especially lately, now that the site itself, the westernmost portion of this city, has been expanding ever outward in order to sprawl out to accommodate a new and rising middle class. Turned earth, reaching groundwater. That's why it only hits a certain part of the population. And when it doesn't, when someone of note and of status gets it, if you don't have a better reason for why you got cullet, you have to explain where you were and how you caught it. There's a lot of bad questions that come with the truth that you discover. So, you may have kept it to yourself, moved on with your research. You know. But all of that to say, protests have been breaking out now for about a week. People that believe that they should have access to fresh water, that the triumvirate should do more to support all people in the city, and the periphery doing what it does best, which is restore order at any cost, instilling a curfew, doing their best to bar access. And blood has been spilled over this water. And Nukari tells you that the third periphery officer in as many days has been found on the street, drowned, with no other sign of salt damage to their clothing or person. That every now and then, that body has
If shit on the
ANC
toilet and the
carved
lights on downstairs.
into the ground next to it.
We should
Any
take care
mother's
of
child.
that.
Popular slogan, used often
Right thing
during
to do.
peace protests during the last Great War. Casualties on both sides. Any mother's child could die. Why not have mercy? What would the mother do? What would she say? And now it is used with derision, that if they could die because of the carelessness of their government that should protect them of a religion that does not serve them, then anything that happens to anyone can happen to any mother's child.
And do I know that there's a connection between? Does any of this seem familiar to me? Obviously, I've been changed by my research around cullet. Is the method of death and the strangeness around the death, is any of that familiar to me?
It's very specifically drowning. And I don't think that rings anything to you specifically.
Just drowning in the street. Though?
It's drowning in the street, but no sense of there's no proximity to salt water.
Right.
These people are drowned in their bodies, and that feels so far away from your scope and your beast and the things that have been happening around you that it doesn't
Well,
ring
the
any
energy
bells.
go upstairs is a problem.
And anyone in Groundswell that's ever interrogated about it claims to know nothing because they were observing the curfew.
Actually, I do.
So whatever's happening,
I'm more head for that
the
part where
locals, the angry locals, do not care. But it is a phenomenon. So Candela must act.
Where is this well? Postman.
The Callanus Market sits at the sort of far end of the city, facing out over the harbor. It's a popular tourist attraction. Like, everyone that has spent maybe more than 6 months, like, if you come to visit New Fair, you know the Callanus Market is one of the things to go and see. This market has existed in some form, almost unchanged since Old Fair. It's one of the things that never had to be, like, uncovered and re-excavated. It simply has existed since then, in use the whole time.
Is this the area still over the years where parts of it continue to sink in and reveal more of Old Fair?
Other parts of Groundswell specifically, like, there's a lot of, like, tide work that reveals more of Old Fair. Callanus Market has just been this thing that, like, seemed untouched by the fall of Old Fair writ large, which is why it's so important. And if you're circling around the name Callanus, that is the last emperor of Old Fair.
The one who took over after Ayamene.
You served her, according to him.
Given
Yes.
that
Yeah, the guy said Callanus dethroned her, right?
I think for anyone who knows the history of this region, Callanus was in charge when their alchemic dealings got out of control and caused the vast chasm.
so he was the last emperor of Old Fair.
He lasted 2 years.
Yes, he really screwed the pooch.
Let's see.
It's a lot on your plate. But I would ask that in this moment, set aside temporarily your individual lines of inquiry and get to the source of whatever is causing these deaths in Groundswell.
Of course, Candela Oscura must take care of Candela business.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I can only return the favor you have given me today.
You
It
are
well deserves researching, but I think our best chance of catching this attack will happen after curfew.
Yes.
Perhaps we can draw them out.
I like it. I mean, I don't, but
What I miss is the ability to have chance kill a character, not the DM.
What time is it right now?
The sheer
I would say, despite the gray
faulty
skies,
die
like, we have clocks. It's probably 2 in
ending.
the afternoon.
And where was the last body found?
which of course a good
The last
DM
body
always
was found
has
just
to
in a
break.
random street.
They
There's
kill
lots
the
of
vampire
patrols
that
that
you require
happen
to finish the
because of the curfew.
You have to.
So every night there has
Otherwise
been
it'll end
a
up
like
in a
periphery
rain of
decom
dwarves.
discovered somewhere.
Complicated.
Just before Nakari leaves, whenever they're on their way out.
Yeah.
Which doesn't have to be now, but Elsie's gonna sign off them before they leave.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a like
Book.
they've delivered like the assignment, they've done their lightkeeper duty. You see that they are still very like sort of drawn and exhausted by whatever working they did, and are happy to escort out the corpse now for whatever disposal is deemed important. And you see that they are trying to like scoot off within like 10 minutes of delivering this. So yeah, you can sidle up.
So, yeah, as they're leaving, or as it seems like they're ready to depart, I'm going to approach and say,
Dr. Roberts.
you said you wouldn't lock him up now, but you will, won't you? Both of us. As soon as Cosmo retires from the field, I'm assuming. How long do we have?
I do not endeavor to lie to you, Doctor.
Ask that you don't.
I do not speak would not presume to speak for Candela as a whole. I can only guess as to what their aims are. I do not wish for either of you to be locked away.
How long, Nakari?
That has everything to do with the two of you. Cosmo, my very good friend, has tied himself, bound himself to Candela in order to smooth over a great deal of things that Candela would not otherwise overlook. I do not mean this as a threat or anything snide. I don't believe our organization behaves with ill intent, simply doing what it must. If you or Mr. Grimm proves themselves a threat, then you must be dealt with. Cosmo has avoided retirement, not because, to my understanding, not because he thinks his time in the field is the only thing protecting you from the long arm of our organization's law. He's trying to find answers. Becoming a lightkeeper means that your time, your focused intention is not your own. I can sit and read books all day long. But there are things I wish to know too. I will never, ever have the fortitude to return to the field to find answers. The working I did today to compel the unabridged to speak to you has pushed me closer to death than I have ever felt. I do not have much time left. It is the way of lightkeepers. They're there to usher, to hand off things that our areas of purview find important, but if Cosmo were to become a lightkeeper, he couldn't send a circle of his choosing out to find answers for his questions, for your question, for Mr. Grimm's question. No. We serve the people that we live among. And that must always be the priority. I do not wish to see you in any way curtailed. I think your work is important.
But you know that I am a threat.
If it is any consolation, and I know it is not. Most people are threats. And in the same way that you approach any new person you meet with the hope that they are good and the knowledge that you will do what you must if they prove themselves otherwise, so does Candela treat the two of you and anyone else that they work with, that they come across.
So our fate is at your discretion.
Your fate is at your discretion. It will just be harder to smudge once Cosmo is no longer in the field.
Thank you as ever for your service, Nakari.
I fear I have upset you. And you see them compose themselves away as you walk away. There was great strain and great effort. Maybe they are a little afraid of you, but they're doing their best, not just for their sake, but for yours. And it,
From what we know, it's affecting the less fortunate. Is that what Nakari said?
the cullet is, yes.
Yes. So I suppose South Soffit would be a good place to start.
Oh wait, where's the well again?
The well is in ground swell where all of these murders are happening.
going to assume that it's someone of a more unfortunate part of town is a part of this. South it sounds like that's where they might be. We can possibly search for some clues there.
The inciting incident seems to be the commoners gaining access to the well at Groundswell. And now the murders are happening at Groundswell. But you want to search elsewhere?
Was it all the murderers are? You said it was like random parts, right?
They're all within the district of Groundswell.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Groundswell it is.
I think we need to while away some time and then choose one of us to be the bait.
Do you guys even want me to come with you? I'm sorry. I mean, I know I fucked that up, but I'm sorry. But if you need bait,
Have any more vendettas you feel the need to resolve? Or will you be able to keep your head?
being questioned about that from you is ironic, and I accept it. No, I'm happy to make some new vendettas.
Miss Glask,
Yes.
do you think you could supply us with a periphery officer's uniform? And about Oscar's size?
I suppose there's been some pieces of clothing left behind. I'll have to check with my girls. But I think I remember there are some.
And from that, your
It would be
dispatch
nice to see this in like
jump
a
forward in time.
cartoon or a.
You were able, via your girls and your
This is
sundry
brilliant.
connections throughout Red Lamp, to
Brilliant,
acquire
brilliant.
a periphery uniform,
Improvisation.
a beat cop, a normal officer, and roughly Oscar's size. And we find you then
I wonder.
walking the streets. You wait for curfew.
The temptation of having
I
a
guess so,
script
yeah.
written for you
It's 10:30.
is there.
You make your way through the city. You can hear the harbor and the ocean.
Don't improvise
Not
hard.
too far away. Where are the rest of you? Well, the good Mr. Graham is being bait.
Somewhere within
In a
viewing
mar-
distance.
a marketplace, right? That's the scene?
Mm-hmm. So you can, you can hang out in the marketplace. It's kind of off and popping in some way 24 hours. Like there's late night food and stalls and some people still plying wares. The market never really shuts down. It's part of this like perpetual, it has always been in business since the days of Old Fair. So you can absolutely blend in and
Even with
stay
the
there.
curfew?
Even with the curfew. Mostly because the people that love to attend Calanus Market late at night are not those who have to toil away long hours and get their rest for shifts at factory jobs that drain them. That's where people come, have a little fun on the other side of town.
Eve's people.
Eve's
Factory
people,
jobs.
Silver Slip, the Varnish. Lots of people come here. They bring their friends when they're visiting town. They would not shut down such a lucrative business opportunity. And so, yes, Calanus Market is the exception. But there are some plainclothes periphery officers around the well, just to make sure that no one breaking curfew would dare to come out and seek fresh water.
I'd say I'm at a safe distance away, sitting in the back seat of one of my cars, just watching him with an eye on him.
Prep!
Perfect.
Use it.
I'm gonna be sitting at an outside table, drinking wine, acting as if I'm like a fancy gal on a night out.
I'll try to find a relatively low rooftop from which I can have oversight. I lift the eye patch that I'm using to avoid unwanted attention, so that hopefully my compound eye can give me a better view, and upon removing my eye patch, find that my eyelid has fallen off.
Nice touch.
I think it's right about that time. You feel the dead tissue fall away and not the stress of what your eye will do to self-lubricate. As little locust lands on your eyeball.
Gross.
And even if you had an eyelid to blink, you would not. In the same way that you wouldn't freak out if a tendril of your own hair landed in your mouth. Your hive is rebuilding, and this is of you. So why
Close the doors, cold.
would you worry about it?
I suddenly open the collar of my shirt and simply whisper, "Welcome home."
A happy buzz as it nestles in with the scant dozens rebuilding you from the inside out.
Honestly, kind of cute. You know?
Weirdly hot.
Yeah.
Doctor, do you mind if I serve as your +1?
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Wheel my chair next to the table. Enjoy some wine as well. Just a skosh.
Without a roll, I think you see people that you knew in your earlier life growing up. Families of great stature and good breeding from the Eves and from Briar Green that notice you. They see who you are, your clothing, find that you look a little worse for wear, and more importantly, you have a little radioactivity to you socially. And they are quick to let their eyes glide off of you and continue their merriment elsewhere.
In my free hand, not holding a glass of wine under the table, I am clutching a familiar jawbone and waiting for a ping.
Can I ask, were we allowed to keep the items on the side table?
Yes, Nakari, in a last little favor, was like, "What? They found it unabridged. He had nothing on him, and then he died. Ugh, you hate to see it. Anyway, then I got yelled at by a lady who turns into a monster, so I'm kind of having a rough day. I'm gonna take a little bubble bath. So yes.
Doorknob, dagger,
Doorknob, yeah.
syringe.
Doorknob, dagger, syringe.
And maybe I would have taken a syringe, presumably?
Seemed like a syringy type.
Seemed like a syringe
Yes.
type.
If you don't quite feel, this isn't quite how circle gear works, but I'm happy to live in the space of these live in the common pool, and unless someone wants something specifically now, they can sort of appear when the need arises.
Yeah, just like the rest of the gear.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I will say that at some point I gave the doorknob to Madame Glask. These are often used in places of magic, and perhaps the history and intuition could be of some service.
I keep it as for safekeeping, since I feel like I'm the furthest distance away and in a car.
Oscar, you walk through the streets, a little ways away from Calanus, but you can still hear everything. You feel the filter of the light sort of falling on you as you move towards the quiet that's interrupted only by the occasional soft footsteps you can never quite line a person up to. And the low, soothing tide moving in and out of groundswell. Is there anything you're doing to try to,
I'm itching this awful costume that I'm wearing
yeah.
and squirming in it because it's my shoulders are very broad. This is just a little too small.
Okay.
I'm gonna just try to act like a cop. So just acting real dumb. Just wandering around like an idiot.
Give me a sway roll with a delightful emotions.
Madame Glass just whispers to herself, "What is wrong with him?"
I bump into something. 5. Oh, it's a disadvantage. 4. Still.
Oh, yeah.
Still pretty.
Still a mixed success. Yeah. You are sort of weaving around. The read on you from anyone that was looking at you, though of course no one is because people would break curfew, is less of I'm a big dumb oaf and more of is this cop blitzed? And I think kind of glancing off of the corner of a building, you kind of lose just a little bit of your vision with this mixed success. You sell the lie, but you don't quite catch a little girl peeking out down the street at you until you spin back to yourself. She's facing you 60, 70 feet away.
Can I say that maybe we decided that if Madame Glass sees something, she's gonna pop her headlights a couple of times?
Oh, I got you. Don't worry.
Okay,
I'm
just wanted to
keeping a
establish.
I'm keeping
Yeah.
a very close eye on it.
Okay.
There's a signal.
That's exactly what I was gonna do.
We barely have flashlights. Is there a horn? When was that invented?
Fixes TV.
She's keeping a very, very
La Cucaracha, honestly, the national anthem of Hale. Sorry.
We sang it during our baseball game.
We do. No. I was waiting for the first one. Please, I will take a brain mark for that. Go ahead and give me a survey roll to see if you can see a subtle child. There is.
Does she get a bonus because she's got
I know, right? Very close.
I don't know
Resistance says you gotta rewrite.
what part of the book says if you got a little prop, you better shit. Absolutely not.
Go for it.
All right, I'm gonna burn 2 drives then. I have nothing in it.
Before you roll, I will say that this, the expectations for this roll is this is a young child whose home this is, and is very good at being not seen. This curfew's been happening for a while. This is not a kid stumbling out. This is a kid trying not to be seen. So it will take a full success for you to spot this. So just to manage your expectations, and you can decide how much of your economy you want to play with.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna spend both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
Hey,
How's it going?
crazy, like a 1 and a 3.
A 1 and a 3. It's okay. You get to take the higher one. That's still a fail.
Madame Glass is leaning into the front seat from the back seat while
You're in the back of your.
yeah, I'm leaning over. I don't drive myself.
Sorry, that was just for a very imaginative flight. That's great.
But my hand is ready, just on the horn.
Yeah.
While watching him.
Great.
As this is going down.
You stare, and you squint, and you can't shake that idea you're missing something. The streets are hard to read. The light is poor. You're too close to things that are well lit, so as things get darker, it's hard. You can't adjust. You're not. You just know that he's a little too far away. And if you catch something, you just might not catch it. I want you to take one breath as you begin to spin up, worried. So all of a sudden you see Oscar pause.
He's too far.
Maybe for just a moment, but I think there is at least a moment of change in vector when you see the little girl as she looks back at you.
Did we establish some sort of physicality that you might do if you thought that you were in danger?
Seems reasonable, but you've got eyes on me. I know that. You've got eyes on me. I know that.
Do we have eyes from where we are?
I think you are approaching the same kind of problem where you're in a very well lit area, and this is moving to just enough dark that you're having that struggle of there's a lot of light, and you're looking down to where there's not a lot of light.
The only thing I would add is I'm holding my jawbone. Not my jawbone.
Yes.
Jawbone.
Fair. Yeah. No. I can give you that. You feel like this beginning buzz before it becomes pain. It's just sort of numbing through your fingers that touch the bone.
Cosmo,
So light.
The show is about to begin.
I'm gonna get up then and go take his handles and start moving casually, but kind of toward where we know Oscar
Let me
is.
finish my wine real quick.
On that. Why is it
My
on
wine, probably.
scat for chug? This is ridiculous.
Waste none.
Focus. I need a survey roll from you with eyes at a different angle.
2 5s and a 3.
Yes, success. You see it. Something, someone a little far away. They don't presume to tell you what you think about it. But there is something off-putting about the posture of a child peeking around a corner. They are breaking curfew. But is the curfew just? And I think you begin to sit in that a little bit. You can do whatever you do next, but I think the mixed success comes with an alarm at seeing something and then a mind that very easily sort of dismisses it. Do what you will with that. It's an easy thing if you search for a reason to not be worried about that, to find a reason to not be worried about that. Cosmo, what do you do when you see this little girl?
And that's the essence of the problem
I just
with the
say,
rule book.
hey, it's curfew. Get home.
She slides out a little farther.
Because in the end, you're the one telling the story,
Want a
and you
candy?
need your characters to do what you want them to do.
Guess that sounds creepy, huh?
Well,
Forget it.
story.
Don't worry about it. Just go home.
Fucked.
You actually have a candy?
Wow. But you shouldn't take candy from strangers.
Give me a sway roll.
How's your sway, bud?
My sway is terrible.
Yay!
Oh.
That's okay, though.
Oh, wasn't gonna give you a try.
You're not even near me,
Oh,
right?
I can't. Even if I'm not near him?
I gotta be on the same scene.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, never mind.
you're in the
You.
back of a car,
A really nice
leaning to the front of the car.
I look fabulous doing it.
Yeah, fair.
1.
Oh.
Are we in Cosmo at this juncture?
Oh my god.
I think you can be wheeling yourselves down the street. Yeah, we're now setting up a little bit of a Western standoff.
Sure.
Girl far away, a police officer, sort of not fully shouting, but speaking loudly, and a woman and a man sort of moving from the well-tended, safe part of Groundswell to the real part of Groundswell.
Can I say that as he's getting further and further, I'm getting more concerned because I can't see him very well that I decide to leave my car?
I will say that the way this is all, I was just about to come to that. When you see that
This is why I love
some of your
the
cohort is
dragons
also
still.
getting up and moving, you see the pause. You don't see the girl, but you see all the things around it that would suggest that something has been spotted. So if you want to exit the car also.
Try to drive the car closer, but then you realize you don't know how to drive.
Immediately crash.
With a horse.
I don't know where this is happening relative to my rooftop access.
Let's call it a big beautiful triangle. Child, cop, approaching pair, and you sort of above splitting the difference with eyes down.
I'm going to, under the cover of the roof, light a candle and prepare a vial of oil.
Okay. As I'm approaching, can I sort of lean into Cosmo and say, how do you want to play this? Do you want to be quiet? Do you want to act as if
just watched things in case things go upside down on my father. How are you feeling?
Not particularly at ease.
Okay, well, maybe that's okay. Maybe not.
I'm guessing that we're not making a distraction. We're trying to close distance. We're not trying to let.
For now.
Okay.
Your cough. And the little girl staring at you.
You okay? What's wrong with you?
She begins panting
You should call your parents or
and
something.
doubling down. One last question. You were given the uniform of an officer. What shoes are you wearing?
I'm not gonna wear somebody else's shoes. They're my shoes.
She doubles down, seeks to brace herself on the steps of a home stoop. And as she begins to spin up more, she's doubling and hacking, and then you can hear it deep in her chest. Something's being picked up. She pauses mid-hack, looking at your feet. It's not right. Not right. Not right. And that is where we're going to take a break.
Shoes.
It's
So many of them.
It's about to pop off. I hope you're wearing what Sam Reed was wearing, which is red Crocs.
She looks at your sorry.
We're breaking the illusion.
My immersion. We'll be back in just a moment with more Candela. See you soon.
Hey there, Internet Explorer. Ever feel like your online privacy is doing the limbo? How low can it go? Well, fear not. I found the solution to internet freedom, and it's NordVPN. Picture this. I'm sipping coffee in an Italian cafe while virtually my online identity is locked tighter than a jar of pickles. NordVPN steps in to ward off cybervillains and give me the power to surf securely. Whenever I travel, I use NordVPN all the time to connect to public Wi-Fi. Now, let's talk real-life superhero stuff. Threat protection. NordVPN encrypts my connection, ensuring my personal data on up to 6 of my devices is safer than a secret family recipe. No more geo-restrictions, just a world of endless possibilities. Right now, exclusively for our Candela Obscura viewers, grab the NordVPN deal at nordvpn.com/Candela Obscura and get 4 extra months. Try it risk-free now with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you, NordVPN, for your ongoing support and for sponsoring this episode.
It's hard to imagine the world without the internet anymore. That's better. But not perfect. Just like real life, digital life comes with its own risks. So why not make our digital world a safer place? We started dreaming. And that's when it hit us. A secure and open internet for everyone, free from surveillance, censorship, and restrictions. How is that possible? Meet NordVPN. It's an all-inclusive cybersecurity and privacy kit for every day and everyone. It increases your privacy, security, and freedom with just a few clicks. And it does so while keeping your internet connection smooth. It guards your digital freedom by letting you change your virtual location with a click. It protects you from online threats by blocking dangerous websites, trackers, and ads, as well as malware-infected files during download. It scans the web for your leaked credentials, so you can avoid digital emergencies before they do any real damage. With NordVPN's latest MeshNet feature, you can access remote files and work on shared projects wherever you are. NordVPN is more than just a VPN. It's a cybersecurity pack that gives millions of internet users daily confidence on every device for a safer digital life today. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Delve into a new tabletop role-playing game of investigative horror with the Candela Obscura core rulebook using the Illuminated World system by Darrington Press. Roam the turn-of-the-century-inspired setting of the Fairlands, including the bustling city of New Fair and the ancient ruins of Old Fair below. Assemble a circle of investigators within the paranormal secret society of Candela Obscura. You'll analyze strange and horrifying events, fight back against dangerous phenomena, and contain the bleed that spreads from corruptive magic. Choose from 10 custom character sheets to empower your investigations and explorations. Use tactical intuition and brawn with the soldier specialty. Use your charm with finesse and flair as the magician specialty, or study and practice mystical arts as an occultist. Explore districts of New Fair, competing organizations, 4 full assignments, and dozens of example assignments to inspire you. If you choose to brave the role of Game Master, this guide contains everything needed to pave the way for your Candela Obscura investigators. Offered in both a standard edition as well as an ornate limited edition for collectors. The Candela Obscura core rulebook contains 204 art-filled pages, including maps, items, immersive notes, mysteries, and plenty more to power your very own story. Keep this tome close, for the knowledge obtained may be the key to protecting you, your allies, and the Fairlands.
But I'm a book collector. I collect books. This is just around the time I start to go to sleep. But I don't want to sleep. I want to watch this full show. My cozy cats are going to protest. But I gotta give it up to these cats, man. They are doing a very entertaining show. It's very hard to improvise a character. It's very hard to improvise a story. I mean, Abria doesn't improvise a story, but she has to improvise this, she knows what she's going to talk about, but she needs to find the moments where she can hit the nail, where she can open the gate to that conversation that is so important in the storytelling. It's a very complicated thing to do. The dice and the real rolls give it an imperative. It's like, because it's life and death. The characters can die. And that is important in storytelling. Very curious. It's an art form, and I love this art form. It's a narrative, it's a story, it's also putting in your emotions and your feelings and your emotions, your soul into a character. Putting your soul into a character. Literally. 100-year-old man with secrets, a murderous con who a rich, powerful woman, a woman with a secret and a dark side. A man plagued by memories So relatable. Real drama. Pleasant. Pleasant story. Dark but pleasant. Pleasantly dark. Is that a thing? Pleasantly dark story. Of course, a bigger fan of fresh cut grass and chutney. Production. Hold you there.
And we return now on a quiet street in Groundswell, a block and a half from the lights and sounds and merriment of Calanus Market, left open to the revelry of the upper class, while the rest, the people here who are suffering under the boot of triumvirate indignation, begin to make their moves, have their thoughts and feelings and resistance be known. To paint a picture of a quiet street, at the far end is a small girl no older than 12 or 13. She's doubled over in pain, coughing, retching. You can hear the sounds of water being pulled deep from her lungs. It sounds sickening. It sounds horrifying. And yet, even in that moment, she's stammering through it, trying to call something back because she noticed something in that last moment, doubled over, that the periphery officer, that you are pretending to be Oscar Grimm, the illusion was not quite complete. Because the shoes, the boots are important. Hard, heavy boots that always sell the point. You hear a periphery officer coming. And the people here that have to wade through rising and ebbing tides all the time have soft, waterproof shoes. She could tell the difference, and she knew in that moment that somehow, for whatever reason, you were different. She wants to know more. She wants to call it backward. She doesn't know if she can. High on a roof a little farther back, we have Dr. Rajan. You are eyes down, observing all of this, candle out, oil out, preparing, some working, yet unknown to us. Farther still, back down on the street, we have our other doctor, Roberts, pushing our dear, dear Cosmo up the street, engaging with and just sort of coming into view with everything that's breaking forward. And then just behind that, bringing up the rear, having missed something before, but catching up rapidly now. We have you, Madam Glass. All of our players are in place. And now in a moment of great strain, we resume as she tries desperately to pull herself together. What are you? What are you?
What do you mean? I'm an officer of the law. You should. Are you all right? Come here. Let me see you.
And you hear the first loud splatter of water. It sounds like it's a pitcher being spilled out. It's too much, all at once, as she gives herself over to it, as you have told her one more time who you are, and caught in the throes of whatever phenomenon holds her, she submits to it and lets forth her monster. More water pours from her mouth. You all see it now. You hear the splashing. You see the rivulets coming through the cobblestone. And the entire city of New Fair exists at a bit of a slant. Another legacy of the destruction of Old Fair, the creation of the vast chasm, the cataclysm that killed the empire that sat here before. But the ocean is behind her. So the tilt would suggest that the water should run under her feet and away, but no, it's coming for you. Slowly but surely. Whatever it is, whatever she is or has or does, is coming for you. I need you to take a point of bleed, and I want you to tell me what it feels like when Oscar is in the presence of strong, irrefutable bleeding.
It's two feelings at the same time. There's a sense of when the bleed hits me, all of my scars, scrapes, imperfections, they just feel better. Everything feels just a little bit more vital, more healthy. It feels good. It feels really good, and that causes me great shame.
And I think you feel that wash, that flow of relaxation, of endorphins, of dopamine, as all of you comes into the alignment in the face of something wrong.
I want to intervene. Upon seeing this, I want to use my prestige.
Tell me more.
Madame Glass runs up to see Oscar. Is the water hitting him already? It is clearly affecting.
No, at this point, you've not moved.
I still don't really know what's going on. I mean,
Yeah.
It seems weird.
Yeah, all you see is a girl retching, and the water coming from her stomach and lungs is just flowing a little against expectations of physics towards Oscar.
Madame Glass is very familiar with what she's seeing, so she runs up next to Oscar, reaches into her coat, and starts rubbing the stone that she has in her coat. And she holds out her hand, starts gripping in the air. A mist fills the air, and everything is unusually silent suddenly. As her fist closes tighter, her eyes flick to the back of her head. I want to use my prestige to control the water that's coming out of her.
You reach forward. I need you to begin. You're gonna roll sense. That's how we start.
I might be screwed here, guys.
Oh, sure.
Because I used my 2 drives earlier and I only have 1 in sense. So, here we go to the sea gods.
Hey.
Hey, girl, how you doing?
I'm actually doing really well, thank you.
Awesome. Wish I could relate.
So sorry. Tell me more.
That's a 3.
Now, in this system, we normally treat a result of a 1 to a 3 as a miss. And this moment will be no fucking different. take a bleed for entering into proximity to this, in the same way that Oscar took a bleed being in proximity to a great phenomenon. You feel it wash over you, and even though you recognize it, even though it resonates, you feel like your ear is up to a shell. You hear the ocean more loudly and clearly than if you were standing beside the sea.
About 4 or 5 times a night.
To grab that water.
When I fall asleep,
To call it, to
wake
hear
up,
it. It's not
pee, and go back to
this
sleep.
one, specific.
4 or 5 times I don't sleep. You know?
You will take
Not that I'm sleeping now. I'm not sleeping. I'm watching.
for attempting
Roll,
to
and I'm
interact
writing an
with
adventure
a
for my nephew.
phenomenon.
On nivel 20,
A part
of course.
With that deafening sound in her ear, she covers the book and kind of crumples into herself
It's kind of the Spanish-speaking.
next to Oscar.
I try to catch her as she falls, and now I'm sort of distracted between the water and Madame Glask.
The water continues to move slowly, just creeping towards you as this girl continues to vomit out more and more, and she's coughing and hacking, and the stench of brine is overwhelming.
I use more nivel 20 because I usually play
this at this
Spanish.
Absolutely.
May I use occult researcher
Use a D&D
to take a
application
brain
to write up D&D adventures.
and ask
Logical.
Abria for an
Logical
important
things
occult
to do.
detail that I would recognize from my studies?
Yeah, please do. You take a brain mark as you strain to understand. And I think this lands inside of less of anything you researched, but in your time in Candela, you've gone on missions with Oscar and Cosmo. You've seen things. There are lots of different phenomena types in the world. Some are things that have transformed someone, or they are things that have been called into this world through a thinning or created as successful or terrible deviations of magic beyond the ken of the caster. This feels a little different. It feels in harmony in a way that I think you are just starting to understand now, given your recent interactions with your own beast.
Like I'm detecting that there is a symbiotic relationship between
Yes.
this girl and whatever else.
You know very specifically and very overtly, you are looking at a human girl who has a phenomenon that she is expressing right now that is tremendously powerful, that is like giving off terrible amounts of bleed around as it happens, and yet what is happening is not an aberration. This is exactly what it was supposed to be. This is synergy. This is cooperation.
So it seems like the one needs the other.
Yes.
Okay.
Needs might be a little strong, but they are working together.
Okay.
Is there anything else you would like? Is there any like specific like edge to your inquiry? Because I want to be sure that I'm answering the thing that Elsie would be asking.
I basically, because I could see that the water is going the wrong way.
Yes.
Right. I can see that this is, and I can see that Madame Glask is reacting, and
Yes.
I'm sure the Jawbone is going nuts. So yes. I'm just sort of trying to suss out if the girl is interrupted. Sorry for the reference, unintentional. If I interrupt her, if someone interrupts her, if whatever the phenomenon is will stop. That's what I'm trying to determine.
Just tackle her.
If I can determine that.
I think yes. You know that this is like something being spun up by her action, so interrupting the action will interrupt like the expression. Absolutely.
Okay.
The last thing I'll add, just as a little Benny, is that there's something very specific about the like slow creep of this and the fact that like no one's done anything yet. Like, you heard a bit of that yelled conversation because it happened with them being far enough apart that, like, other people could hear it too. That she, like, tried to call something, she called something out, began to try to call something back. Oscar's words sort of finished her resolve, but nothing has popped off in a way yet, so this creep gives you all of the, like, slow, careful consideration of an apex predator trying to figure out when the prey will bolt.
Cosmo?
As we get closer, Cosmo.
Where did he go?
Who are you? I don't like it.
I'm back.
You sound exactly like TTRPG star William O'Brien.
That hack, okay. I use speak their language. I begin to intone ancient Farron syllables. And you hear slight reverberation in your ears with every word spoken. And in that ancient language that I have spent my lifetime learning a piece of, I say, wait. Who are you? What would you hear?
I jumped to that, but you mentioned getting a little closer. So I do just want to ask, for tactics and consequences' sake, how close did you come to Glask and Oscar?
20 feet is what I was thinking.
Not like in the mix, but within eyesight and shouting distance.
Okay. Give one of you, doesn't matter who, give me a sense roll.
Oh, let me do it.
Understanding that the stakes of this, regular stakes, but a failure will, you'll be in range.
I'm burning a drive.
Okay.
Gilded
Do you feel
roll.
good enough like that, or do you want another one?
I'm feeling good.
Okay, great.
Oh, it's shit.
Oh, the wine
Really?
Yes.
Shouldn't have chucked
Do you
that
get your
wine.
drive back if you use the gilded die?
Yes.
Okay. Your drive back. Both of you are going to take a bleed.
Oh.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Okay.
4 of the 5 of you are in range.
That's fine, that's fine.
And with every syllable you speak, you see the water on the ground, every part of it, as though there is no central place from where the ripple would form from, but all of it is the epicenter. Down this long street, reverberates with every syllable. And I think you realize before you even get a response that the thing that you're talking to in this moment is not the little girl, but the thing coming out of it.
I am so old. Older than I shouldn't be alive anymore. I think that my proximity to what happened long ago on that vessel has stretched me out longer, and when I come in contact with this bleed, I can feel it arching across my weathered, thin out skull, creeping from the front to the back. Just a little flavor.
I like that. But if I could give you info, I absolutely would.
Does it respond to him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what you hear after the, like, ripples of your voice is something, and I'll give it to everyone because you're all in range, you're all taking this damage, so you're all a part of the epicenter of this. As a low voice, it sounds like crashing waves and a stone scraping against salt responds. My name is Arturax, and I have been charged to serve the child. Who are you?
We all hear that voice, but only he can understand it, or we all sort of.
You all hear it and
telepathically-
understand it. And I think it's just sort of a, like, it's not quite telepathically, but you hear it in your ears and you feel like the blood and water inside you, like, tremoring. with it.
A reply in the same ancient language. Tide and bone. Keepers of the light.
You were known to me in my time. Yes. What do you want? I must protect the girl. And she deems that one. And here you see the water like shoots forward a half a foot.
He's not who you
A
think.
threat.
He's not a threat.
And in this, you feel the pause, and this girl, heaving water, is able to catch herself for just a second. He's with your God. He's a problem.
He's not.
Let him say it. Prove it. And she begins to spew more water out. And now this thing begins to retreat back a little at a time, not to flee, but to coalesce into a puddle.
I represent something that you don't like. Believe me, it's just an act. I don't like them either.
And at this, girl sort of sputters out. There's enough water here, called down and collected. And the puddle resolves into a large, tall humanoid figure. Those of you with any sort of curiosity about the mythology and history of Old Fair recognize the sort of array of like spikes and feathers that look like a helm of the like ancient centuries of Old Fair. The figure stands at attention and waits. And the girl eventually pushes herself up to standing. Why would you come here? Pretend to be one of them. Why?
To talk to you.
What? Doesn't make any sense.
Are you okay?
No. Of course not.
What's going on?
My brother's dead. They're attacking us. We can't. No, I'm not all right. Who are you?
We want to help, but you have to tell us what's going on.
I don't have to tell you anything.
Is this the girl speaking?
Yes.
Okay.
You're in my home, and I'm the only one that can protect it. And I will, because I don't know you. You look like an officer, and you look like one
I'm
of
like
them,
you.
and none of them care.
Little one, look
They'll
at
let
me.
us.
I'm like you. I have something in me, like you do.
You made a deal too.
I don't know. Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Who did you make a deal with?
I was standing on the shore a couple days ago. My brother died. They killed him at the well for disrupting the peace. Oh God. And you see she staggers back and kind of falls onto the ground, more dizzy and faint and a little overwhelmed than anything else.
It's okay. Just take slower breaths. You're okay. You're okay.
I was at the shore. I asked for a miracle. getting answered. It asked me what I wanted. I said revenge. It asked for a price.
What was the price?
I offered anything myself. I don't know.
A loved one. Bottom glass says Sternlinger. A loved one is what you offered.
It's not what I offered. But it's what it did. It said it couldn't be me. But it said, it kept saying, any mother's child, and then mother. And then it said that the price was paid. My brother was at the well because my mom has been dying of colic for years. I don't know if it killed her or if she was just going.
Did she die in the last few days?
She was dead when I got home. She was dead when I got home, and then I had this. And she gestures the figure in front of her. I don't have anything left. Just this.
Is the water figure doing anything? Watching us? Does it have eyes?
There are no eyes, and there's no, like, firmness to the figure, just the rough shape, like a shadow made of water. And it holds. You reached your hand out toward her, and you felt its attention shift slightly. But unless you move, it will simply hold position, interposing itself.
Interposing, like it's between us and the girl?
Yes.
Oh.
She was behind it because vomited the water out, the water flowed forward.
Got it.
And it formed and resolved in front of her. So she's sitting on the ground.
And if I take a step forward,
it will match you.
Oh. Okay, got it.
That water figure, was that Arterex?
Yeah.
Arterex? So it does speak.
Yes,
Somewhat
but very
in her-
specifically as a like interaction of the casting that Cosmo did. I want to know what you're doing up on the roof.
I don't know if I'm in range and therefore able to hear everything that has transpired.
I think you are. Because of the gap that the girl has left, that the water sentry has enforced, there's still a bit of yelling. I think you're having trouble making her out, but you hear your circle and you feel the words of the sentry. What are you doing with your oil and your candle?
As I tear a piece of my cravat and wrap it around the oil flask, I put my hand to the claw embedded in my body and look to see if I can tell where a master begins and drone ends, if they are actually linked or if there is one that serves the other.
Give me a sense roll.
Of course.
I just doing got good sound. That's so interesting in a game that's spooky stuff.
So if it's a sense roll and I have nothing in it, but I had a drive.
Then you're rolling one die.
One die.
Straight roll.
Yep. 5.
Okay.
Make success. Take a bleed. You understand with perfect clarity as someone who has both known the dynamic of master and servant from both sides and then found synergy. Whatever you and your hive now are, they are in unison. It's very clear. The tether. She has called this thing, she's paid a price. And this sentry, this thing, this piece of breath found form in deep briny water serves at her command. And if this is the thing that has killed those officers, then it was doing so at her express order.
Are you alone?
There's no one else. You're gone.
Would you like a soft bed and a safe place?
You have described before the importance of your dress, that you still hold yourself in the trappings of your old life. You look like a doctor, yes, but a woman of the eaves of the nicer parts of the city. You can make a sway roll, but know that the expectation here is that it will take it will take a full success to begin to convince her against everything she's seen and experienced. The callousness from people dressed like you. It's a lot to overcome, even in an act of kindness.
I'm going to take off my coat and lay it down, basically as an offering if she wants to take it. I'm going to spend both of my drives.
Hey!
And see what happens. I got a mixed success.
She looks down at the coat and up at you and this group that, again, it's confusing. You wrap yourselves in these glamours, you lie. God, she's been around so many people that lie. You've made no move to harm her. So she doesn't take the coat. She doesn't move further. But you also don't see her back away or shut down, call the sentry forth or back to her. She is listening, but she is not convinced. There's something about a person who has lived a harsh life that knows better than to give away what little power she has wrested from a cruel world in a moment of kindness that she cannot say is genuine or will continue.
Glass kneels down next to the child.
If you move forward, the sentry will interpose itself and try to stop.
Right, okay. Glass speaks to the child. And,
Yeah. Do you want to step forward? Like, it's not going to bum rush you and try to hit you, but, like, if your instinct is to move forward, just know that, like, at the first step, this thing is, like, sliding with the same, like, bearing to interpose.
I take one step forward cautiously, keeping an eye on that watery figure. And I look at the child and I say, as a worshiper, I know what the sea beckons, and pulls out the sea glass that she has in her hand and shows it to the watery figure. I understand, child. You can trust me. Although I look like them, I come from your roots. Have no fear.
What do you mean? Worshiper? What?
The gods that gave you this power.
God did this.
Yes. They took away everything and gave you something in return, yes? As they did for me. Trust me, child.
I don't know what I've done. I don't know. I was raised in the ascendancy. Mother, father, child. I don't know other gods.
Can I slowly reach out to her to take her hand?
Make a sway roll.
Yeah.
Maybe a drive. Yeah, let's go crazy. Oof. How you doing? Hey, baby.
Drive back.
Yeah, you get the drive back.
Hey, you get the drive back.
Hey, that's
I
awesome.
love that. Was it a mixed success,
I
crit?
would really
What would
love
you?
new dice.
Okay, that's so interesting.
So maybe I wasn't that great of a worshiper. It's three ones and a 3.
Dolly.
Huh?
You reach
Wait.
forward.
Wait. Crap, no resistance.
Do you want to burn your resistance to try again?
Yes.
That's exactly what this is for.
Yeah, I do want to use a resistance.
Okay, you can't re-roll the drive that you spent, but all the other dice. You re-roll the base stat. So re-roll your swing.
And the base stats. No
Yeah,
gilded?
you don't get the drive.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Come on, little one. A 4.
Better than a
Move
1.
from a miss to success, mixed though it may be. And I think in that mixed success, it is the understanding. You know more specifically than anyone else here who this little girl is. And even if she doesn't know the gods of your home, she's treated in the same way that you did. She's the same age you were when you shouted your rage and indignation at being abandoned in this new world alone. Your family did not make the crossing with you. Your ship was lost at sea, and somehow you wound up here. You had to make a life for yourself. You hid from the waves and the gods of your home until one day you found yourself standing at a shore. You screamed and wept tears as salty as the ocean itself. Pleaded for something, a way to make it in the world, and something spoke back. Offered you a desire. Said that the price had been paid. A mother claimed by dark water.
And what is worth that price?
You tell me. It is a heavy price. And I am a fair thing.
We wished for safe passage and riches and wealth in this new world. For us, not for me. And that was the price?
I cannot speak to the deal unstruck. But what you ask of me now, I will grant. The price has been paid. What do you want? And this thing reaches into you, sees your heart, the stormy sea that is your spirit, and speaks your name, Cordelia. What do you want? If it is in my power to give it, I will. You are not forgotten, and the gods they worship there are not the only ones that walk this world.
I want them back.
You cannot give them.
And if I can't have them, give me what they wanted when they chose to come to this new world.
That is within my power and purview. You are not forgotten here in a strange land, sweet child. It will not be easy, but it will be and you feel like the tide ebbing away from you. Your connection to whatever this was, the gods of this world, the demons of Candela, something in between or something more, recedes from you. And a few years later, we see you, Madame Glask, walking through this world without the fear and starvation, without the suffering. You have a place and a way for yourself, and you will never be hungry or scared like that again. You have your girls, the people that you have found that were like you on the streets, and you found a way for them to take care of them, to protect them, for them to make a way in this world for themselves. And then you come back to yourself in this moment with this girl who's at the beginning of a path that you have lived for the last 3 decades. And in this moment, she is your girl too. She's not different than you. She is scared and alone.
I hold her hand gently and tell her, do not go back. Do not go down this path, child. It is lonely, and I know you want to hurt those who have taken from you, but it will never give you a home.
As the final part of that mixed success, as you reach out and reach her, and she accepts your grip, the standing orders of this century hold, protect the girl. She's vulnerable, she's weak. And you will take a point of, no, you will take 2 points of body. As this thing pushes through you, water formed hard like a dagger, slicing through your forearm, reaching out to make connection with this girl. You feel the blade of it slide between the bones, cutting cleanly, so precisely, but you control water too. This is not unknown to you, and it burns, but it does not deter you. This little girl who sees what you have risked, sees the blade through you, salty water on one end and bright red with your lifeblood on the other side. And she grabs your hand and then your elbow, and she wraps herself around you. Because maybe you understand.
I take her into my cloak and I wrap her close.
She sobs, tears as salty as the ocean itself, into your beautiful beaded gown. And the century withdraws its blade and holds. What do the rest of you do?
Seeing blood, it's real blood that we can see, right?
Real blood, and when it withdraws the blade, she is bleeding down her forehead.
I'm wrapping my hand around my chain and just getting it ready, but kind of looking to Madame Glask for if she's okay, I guess.
I look at Oscar and I kind of just, shh, it's fine. And she knows that she's bleeding, but to not disturb the girl wrapped in her arms, it's okay.
You hear her mutter into your sequins and beading. It shifts and tinkles. You just hear her sob. It's Mina.
Mina. Such a beautiful girl. I run my fingers through her hair.
Being of water is doing what now?
Standing at attention, but has opened its posture up so that it's no longer between you and the 2 of them.
I'm gonna get Oscar up, slowly and cautiously.
And I look, I give you all a knowing look, and I let you know it's safe. It's okay now. I have her. I'm assuming so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to ask her if she knows anything about where we can find the source of the poisoned water.
She sobs and tries to like pull herself together, kind of moves away from you, and realizing that none of her sort of like close fit jumpsuit is good for daubing a nose that's absolutely shooting boogers. She wipes her hand. Yeah,
With my clothes.
she accepts it gratefully. They say that west of the city, the ground is bad. They keep building new things and it poisons the water, but we're the only ones. It touched our water. I don't know what that means, but it only runs to us and south of it. So we're the only ones that get sick. And they don't care. We could have gone to the well until they figured something out, but they'd rather protect history than people. And then they put in a curfew. And I know other people are hurting, and I'm the only one that has that. I will kill them. I won't stop.
This isn't the way. I won't save it. I won't bring them back. I'm sorry.
I know. I'm not naive. I know. It doesn't matter. You can't get back the things you lose. But you can make them pay for taking it. She looks around at the comfort in your eyes and the concern in yours and the fatherly understanding, and then she lights on yours.
I know what you mean. It does feel good.
She sees a thing in you. And it steals her in a way that compassion can't always.
But maybe for now, you can let us get you some revenge. And you can just take a break and rest.
Okay. Okay.
Doc, Cosmo, do you two have any idea how we might, split these two apart? Or someone who can?
I think you definitely drop back to have this conversation.
It's still just hovering.
Yeah, it's just standing at attention. But now there's no like sense of like, it's not tracking your movements and the like minute changes in your physicality in the way it was before when it seemed so on alert. But it still remains at the ready.
Is there some Candela bigwigs that know how to do this stuff? Or like a big towel or something that we can soak it up with? Or
And a bleed containment vial is just for like trace amounts, right? To bring a little bit home.
Usually. But if you haven't told me what your bleed containment vial is, then a bleed containment unit can be whatever you decide in this moment.
mine is a gigantic 40-gallon tank.
Yeah, okay. You have like 3 sparklets containers ready to go. But truly, if there's something that doesn't care about volume, that simply seeks to like soak up as much of like one thing as possible, that is absolutely within the realm of like what can be done.
Can we ask her to maybe absorb it back into her? She can control this.
You can just ask her. You don't have to ask me to do that.
But she can control
without her?
I might like, I don't know if what is happening with her is like what happens with me. But I don't know how either of them would fare at this point if they were separated.
I don't think we can. Not the gods that I know. If we tried, it would just get worse.
Well, then what do we do? I mean, God, I wish the fancy lad were down here to consult.
You
Just
fancy?
pissed off somewhere else.
You fancy that?
The threat to the individual seems to have abated, and the circle seems secure. I put the vial down and I blow out the candle. Perhaps we're trying to treat the symptom without treating the cause.
Yeah, there you are. Jesus.
Truly out of shadow.
I knew. When I was researching Cullen, I knew where it came from. And my wealthy clients didn't want people to know. And I didn't say anything.
I kind of turn Mina away so she doesn't hear this. I do look at Elsie again. Our secrets.
You're better off.
I said something sooner, Elsie.
I should.
I'm going to wheel a little closer to the being and begin to speak in ancient Fairy again. This is not your when. This is not your where. Will you part with this child?
If I am released, I will go and resume my wandering. But only if she decrees it.
I look at Mina and I say, Mina, let us do this the right way. So you don't have your interest in Child. Let the sea reclaim him. And put trust in us. We'll find a way.
She sort of nods. She looks across all of you so kindly. She looks at you, the one that understands differently. And at you as you approach. Fancy. You are nice. You understand. You said you worship the same God.
Yes.
Did you make a deal?
Yes.
What did you ask for?
Wealth and riches in a new world.
Would you give it back?
I didn't give, child. It was taken. My mother and my father.
I lost my mother and my brother.
Then you understand.
A steep price.
Yes.
You didn't give yours back. You didn't give yours back. Why do I have to give mine back? I already paid for it. I lost everything for it, and you want me. What? powerless again.
I don't use my power to hurt, child.
I use my power to protect my people.
If you want to protect them, you find a way to help them, to cure them.
I have! What have you done?
You don't have to give it back. But let us help you.
What do you mean by help?
Let us keep you safe. Help us understand. We won't take it away.
If you try to part it from me, I will drown you.
I promise you we won't. We won't.
I do not know you. And I have had so many promises broken already. I trust you for now. But if you abandon me, if you take me away and leave my people, the people here, to suffer like everyone else dies, I will kill you.
Then how about I make another deal then?
You don't have anything else to give.
My life?
She doesn't want our lives. I offered that first. So we're just gonna have to trust each other for now. And Mina will very specifically push herself up to standing, and she holds herself so tight. And she unsummons the water. It splashes, the massive pile on the ground still mingled with a bit of your blood. And it runs away back down towards the sea. And she stands.
I'm gonna pick up my coat one more time and I'll return. It's cold.
Such a strong girl.
She walks and takes it. And I think even in that gesture, you can see the difference in size between you. That like here, without that protector, without the magic, the bond, the curse, the deal she made, she's so sweet. But warmer now. Because of you.
There are different ways to protect your people. And if you can't have the vengeance that you so desire, perhaps we can find a way to get fresh water to those in need. The swell is not the only source. Briar Green has it for sure. If necessary, I'll fill tankers and send it to those you care about. I can't help everyone, but it's certainly a start.
Okay. Okay.
Can we take her back to the chapter house?
Would she even go?
I have a home here.
But there's no one there.
Yeah. With you is fine.
I can put her in my car.
Okay.
How small is she?
She's a 12-year-old, so she's right around like 4, I'll say like 4'9" or 4'10", but very like scrawny, the like being stretched out by puberty before everything else hits, like beginning in the growth spurts, has not eaten enough to like even begin to fill out. So gangly preteen.
I have been allowing everyone to do such an excellent job de-escalating the situation, but I also want to know if she's fucking us. So can I give her the eagle eye?
Yeah.
All right.
You tell me what you're rolling.
I'm roll a read. I'm trying to read.
Yeah.
To see if any one of us is going to get a mouthful of water.
And I will say that like she's trying to play it very close to the vest, but you've been watching her this whole time. So the stakes of this are pretty low. You're gonna get a lot of good information.
Come on. No. But I'll take the gilded to get a drive back.
The thing you know is that you understand, like you're looking for a way of for sure, like she is lying and will do something drastic, or for sure she's reaching out for someone or something to trust, and you get neither. She is true to her word. She will trust for now because she has no other choice. But because of the nature of her power, the trust comes from knowing that if worse comes to worst, she will drown. She will kill you with all of the surety of someone who has killed before and understood what she did and will do it again.
Well, the good news is, child, that this is a group of cracked vessels. So you may just fit right in.
Are we headed back to the spot?
Is there anything else you want to?
Do that, or do you want to go to the well?
Or we gotta take her back?
And I think the chance of encountering actual gods who give us pushback is not what Mina needs at this moment.
I think we should just go back to the antiquarian.
I will say, just as like a little mental image for the group of you, that like, yes, this is a little girl breaking curfew, but all of you look like it is fine for you to be out at night, and you are escorting a child who may look like a little ragamuffin, but like, no one's going to ask you questions or stop you.
She has your nice coat on.
There is no rush to like whisk her off. She's fine because she's with you.
She might be useful.
But you can do what you want.
Yeah, I don't know. What's our next play? We can take her back and put her away and then go off to West Rec?
Yeah, let's just review. Right? There was the well here, all the clean water, which was what set this girl off on her journey with her friend.
Yeah.
And West Rec, which is really on the outside of town.
Yeah, you literally, like, you are on, like, one side of, you're, like, on the far side of the Seidel, like, towards the city center to the east. And then on the other side of the district that you all call home is West Rec, the edge of the city, this, like, blasted landscape. It's now 11 p.m. What you know about the well before and without having to go to it is that, like, it is sort of a surprising source of clean water, and the well is incredibly deep and has been in use since the time of Old Fair. So it's touching an incredibly deep water source, and things have been built up to, like, you can draw water up and out, but every time they build a structure around it, usually like historical societies will come and break it down to, like, put something like a little gazebo around it, or treat it like a historical site instead of an actual functional part of the city. But whatever you want to do, you have de-escalated the situation, and she is down here.
Murder.
Tempo que esse muito frio. Gatos fazem frio.
we should go back and regroup. Get her to bed. She seems like she needs a good night's rest.
He's powerful and unpredictable. I think perhaps the Lightkeeper would have access to resources that we don't have.
But we should trust her keeper.
Tanta ingratitud gatuna.
She barely trusts
Yo te
us.
la guardé, bebé.
Right now, she just needs a place to sleep and rest, and we can give her that easy. So, I'll fire up the car.
You'll pile in and drive to the antiquarian.
Yeah. Everyone pile in. I'll drive you, Your Highness.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
I know, because you don't have a license.
This is also true.
It's for poor people.
You get in the car. Mina, at this point, like, still wary, complies and is happy to be swept along. I think across a not too long drive, she begins to, like, forget a little of her wariness. And at some point, I think she is looking out of the window over your lap, Cosmo, and just, like, leans more and more. And, like, gets elbows up on the window and is kind of just watching the street go by. She's never been in a car before. Just enjoy your time. And eventually you make your way back to the antiquarian.
She leans past. I watch her gazing out for a bit. Look at my father. This glass riding shotgun. To you. I don't say anything. Just feeling my age. Marveling at all the things I've seen. My life, including today.
Your reverie brings you across a lot of thoughts and recollections. And I think there is one last little touch. Remembering the name of this bookshop before you purchased it and made it the antiquarian. It was called Any Mother's
We'll
Child.
turn the light off. Grab the character
Taken
sheets.
from Ascendancy scripture that speaks to the
Flush
mercy
the toilet.
that is expected to be shown to any other person that you meet. So who are they? If not another precious child of the Mother Goddess. And so much of that meaning has fallen away now. It's been taken up in slogans and used in acts of defiance and peace. And you lose yourself in your musings. As again, who other than you and your father would remember a phrase that's meant so many things for so long. And you make it back to the bookshop. She's fallen asleep, sort of face like smushed against the glass, exhausted. What are your plans with her? What do you want to do? You come up to the antiquarian. Eloise and your sweet puppy are sort of waiting for you by the door to let you in, usher you back, offer you tea and refreshments. Eloise looks deeply confused to where you acquired a child from.
I think we've skirted the line with the members of this very circle. I propose we just give her a few days. Keep an eye on her and then probably discuss with Nakari what would be best.
I think, yeah, maybe we can put her to bed And then there's a moment where I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror with all of these outdated fineries I've tried so hard to maintain. And they feel tight and wrong. And I'm going to give myself a token. Because at this point, Elsie doesn't know what the fuck she's been doing. The choice to be so selective about her research around this disease and who it's impacting and how it's impacting them. And her choice to keep it secret. To serve wealthy and auspicious masters has finally come into clear focus, the human cost.
I like that you gave yourself a token. I appreciate that. But I do think moments of tremendous self-reflection and realization and growth, they don't always come with a breath of fresh air and euphoria of phenomenal realization. Sometimes they come at the end of a knife of realization of who you were and how much it stings to know the ways in which you have failed the version of yourself you wish to be. I think, Dr. Roberts, you have worked and worried that your experimentation turned you into a monster. And I think the realization maybe a part of you was monstrous far before the beast ever became a part of you is there. So I want you to take a brain.
A brain?
Yeah. And know that sometimes growth comes through stress. That you see it and you realize it. That's good. It's okay. Sometimes the only way out is through. I think with that. Yeah?
Before you, I don't know if you're wrapping.
No, go ahead.
I was just, if we're wrapping up the evening and all sort of laying down to rest, I was just gonna knock on Cosmo's door real quick before I go back to the glass cat and just have a quick moment with him.
Yeah, please go for it. You're good.
Cosmo, it's a weird day. I feel like we got some sort of closure, but I kind of blew it like I always do, and I don't know. Would it be very strange if I were to tuck you in?
You can help me, yes. I can do it on my own, but it's easier with some help, yes.
I'll help him into his pajamas and get his bed the way he likes it, and shove a pillow behind his back and another one in his front. And
would you scoop up Godot and put him by my feet?
Of course.
Thank you.
I'll do so. And I'll just wait till I'll turn out the lights and just wait till I hear him snoring. And maybe just sit there a while and listen and put a hard candy on the side table next to his bed.
Oscar. I'm very tired.
I know. I wish I were too. Good night, sweet boy.
I think sitting in the quiet and in the dark next to the one thing you still have left feels enough like that place you go when you go. You take a brain mark. Because I think you have the shape of it now. Every time you die, you go somewhere, you accept that something must be given, a part of a bargain you didn't make, and you've heard a lot of that tonight. And maybe for the first time in waking memory, you have a sense of that space, of the things you've traded away, and the thing that you still have left. That's all. You go back to the glass cat.
Yeah. With you if you want.
Yeah, I don't drive, Oscar.
Oh, yeah. I drove her there. Go back. Talk to you, man. Go back.
You think gas is free around here? Cordelia has been sitting next to Mina watching her sleep. This is the first time she's ever had such a strong connection to anyone since she's left her home. This really is her all over again, and it breaks her heart to see this poor child going down the same path as she did. And it's an odd sense of family, connection, a home, perhaps. And she feels it in her soul that she will do everything she possibly can to help this child. Because in a way, it's helping herself too. And I think she tries to stay for as long as she can, almost not wanting to go back to the glass cat, but
eventually you have to go back. I think there is another realization inside of that. That you have to acknowledge that she is firm in her purpose. That if you are to claim her as family, it comes with more than just the joy of connection. It comes with duty and responsibility and expectation and having to accept someone when they make you proud, when they disappoint you. You don't know her. You don't know if she's going to disappoint. If that's a risk you want to take. If anyone was primed in this circle to take it, it is you. I think that is the energy you leave with when you go back to the glass cat.
I get back to the glass cat.
Yeah.
Realize she's not in the car.
yes.
Go back.
I'm
Get
standing
her
outside.
again. Sorry.
What are you looking for?
There's lots of emotions. Go back again.
Does Raj want an ending scene?
Do you want to ride?
Fade to black.
Oh, little rascal.
A success without any bloodshed. What do you think they'll do with her? Do you think they'll actually try to fix her? To keep her safe?
Seems like a loaded question, Raj. What do you want to say to me?
just wonder if we're actually doing the right thing.
For her? Or for any of us?
We're all monsters here, it appears. Candela's modus operandi seems to be containing or neutralizing. And we refuse to be contained.
So they only have one other option. Is that what you mean?
I just hope that Mina has the happy ending we're hoping for.
And what about you, Raj? What kind of ending are you looking for?
We're not concerned with the ending, more the journey.
Please take point of your beast pool. Does that creep me the fuck out?
With that.
Good night, Elsie.
Good night, Raj.
You move out into the night. An interesting win for the circle of tide and bone. But tomorrow's always a new day. But it could be a brighter one for all of you. For the person you saved. Not so much for the person you lost. It's okay. You're all monsters. But all the best stories are about monsters. So we'll see what you make of the next assignment when we meet again. Before we finish up, officially, we have time to do some of our circle stuff. We are headed into the finale. You have 4 resources left to spend in a manner of your choosing, as was our dark bargain when we first began.
Right.
So, what do you want to buy?
Stitch, refresh, and training.
And training.
I think
Training does what?
Gives you 1 die for a little extra juice.
Just one.
Can you get back resistances with any of these?
Yes, with your refresh.
With refresh.
I
Refresh
just
gives back
realized-
all your drives and resistance.
I just realized my strongest power, and I only have like 1 thing in sense.
Oh well.
Part 2 everybody.
I think I'm gonna use a refresh, if that's okay with everyone.
Sure, yeah. Doctor, heal thyself.
Hey,
This is the last time to use it.
This
Yeah.
is it.
How many?
Smoke 'em if
What's
you got
that?
'em.
What's 4 more?
Yeah,
4
4
more.
Oh, so
I'll
you use one
take
refresh?
a refresh as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Madam Glatz, you have body marks, don't you? Is it something that the doctor can help you with?
I have 2 body marks. 2.
Oh,
I didn't kill anyone. No one hit my feet.
I have a 2 body, 2 brain, 2 bleed. I'm hurting.
2 body, 2 brain, and 2 bleed? Yeah, you should just take
So close.
Right?
Stitch clears all your marks.
enjoy.
So yes, I'll take a stitch.
So did you take a stitch and a refresh? Oh.
I mean,
So
You got
refresh, stitch.
Yes.
Oh, we only have 1 more to play with then.
One
more.
I only have 1 mark. And I can fill the drives if I need to. So.
Do you need stuff?
I've got 1 body, 1 bleed, 3 brain,
Ooh.
but
You baby.
Just leave it.
just leave it.
Just leave
I
it.
need like a 4th one. Like, 2 more scars. That's what I'm kind of figuring.
Everyone's got so much more room. Don't use it.
I know, right?
Why are so
I know,
much, so much
that's
in
what I'm
train?
thinking.
Never
You
use
should have.
We
Yeah,
have
it's a bit
nowhere
of a
else
smoke 'em
to
if you
use
got
it,
it, though.
so-
Yeah,
But you
this
could
is
have
it.
like, what if you had 1d6 just for
And
whatever?
it failed.
I mean,
Or would you rather have drive? You can take the.
I know. Yeah,
You go on drive.
or refresh.
Ooh.
Because I can take a few more hits and some scars.
Well, you could take a stitch and a refresh if you want to.
I don't want to waste it all on me.
Wouldn't be wasted.
Little old me.
Me.
If Oscar takes one more brain, he's scarred.
So at the beginning of next session, just somebody brain me, go down, then I'll be up for the rest of the session.
There you go. That's how that works.
Just resuscitate you and then you'd be good.
Oh, God,
You do. I mean, we do have.
I never pictured you as an optimist.
Presumably, we all have, apart from you, we all have 3 more scars we could take before we die.
That's okay. That's okay. I love a challenge.
So you're gonna have to work pretty hard.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
You
not gonna make a
take it,
sympathetic
Madam
baby.
Blask. I work for you.
Oh,
Yeah, refresh yourself.
okay. I'll refresh myself
Refresh
and
yourself.
stitch it also.
I was sorry. That was exactly.
Alright, refresh and a
Alright,
stitch.
we're in the tone. It's a
Thank you, my
speaking.
darlings.
I will say, now that all resources are spoken for, if anyone wanted to call a scene to like go through any of this in a narrative way, there's time and space for that. But if not, we can just come back for the finale and get what we get. We do also have some little guys, some little toys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. We
Do you
never
wanna
fucked
do
with the
that
toys.
now?
I don't know what your refresh feels like.
We had talked at the break about maybe fiddling around with the doorknob.
That's right. That's true. We did.
You want to doorknob it up, or do you want to do that next time?
I do have the doorknob. I mean, I don't even know what to do with this thing, so I just grab it and I just start twisting it.
Is in the open air.
Yeah, just in open air.
As
So
you're driving back to
delightful.
the glass.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
Half
You're
the
just
cars
driving
disappeared.
along with
Just
it.
fidgeting.
What you doing back there?
Nothing, just like, quietly fidgeting with this thing. Trying to figure out how this works.
Well, you're magic. Can't you do magic with it?
I'm not exactly a real magician.
What? Don't tell people that. That's the whole thing. I thought the whole
This
thing
was-
with magic
This
is.
is in the car. It stays in the car with us.
Ooh, better.
Car talk. Yeah, I mean, I'm just knocking it, you know,
Can you say some magical words or something? I don't know how this shit works.
Just dead ass just doing survival car is the funniest thing I can think of. That's so good.
You have to suction cup it to a wall and
Put it on the side of the car where the doorknob goes. Cars in Candela have doorknobs.
No headlights, just candles in the front. But doorknob.
Who else has what piece?
Huh?
You have the knife, yeah?
The idea is until someone like calls the shot, it just stays in the communal pot.
It is.
Also have-
Oh, you can have it all if you want.
what if in the downtime I just take the dagger and I do I choose a little drawing on the doorknob?
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
I see the official part of it.
So yeah.
We owe me for brunch the next day.
What's the box?
Cosmo, as you are sort of fiddling with both the knife, are you using their knife or your?
I'm using their knife.
Their knife, this doorknob, and you start moving through it, like, just as a test, you, like, cut a little bit of, like, some bread that you're eating at the brunch I think you're at. You know, great, still a knife. And then, again, you have that intersection, that interaction, as you move over alchemical symbols. It feels like you are carving something without disrupting the doorknob and the sigils on it. But you're like carving into the idea of the magic that could sit on top of it. Make a sense roll.
All right, here we go. Where's my character sheet? It's gone. I will use one drive Yep. Okay, here we go.
So cute. This is how I kill you.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm gonna take the. I could do a gilded 5 or a regular 6. I'll
What do
take
you
the
do?
6.
Take the 6.
Door number 1 or door number 2.
Yeah. You carve into it, carve onto it, and you feel it, that sense of stacking, of layers. And the analogy I'll give next sits a little higher in the air and is more for Liam and the table and the audience than the sort of abstract understanding that Cosmo comes to. And you think about what the difference in complexity and beauty of a painting you could make in the difference between building layers of color, adding form on top, layer after layer after layer, versus if you only had one layer of pigment, you had to get every pixel correct. You realize that this knife, this stylus, allows you to carve new alchemical symbols onto existing ones. If you completed a thought and it made sense in the context of what this doorknob does, you could add new orders, add layers of complexity. And with a full success, you understand that that's the difference. This right here. All of the modern alchemists, they can't make anything that even approaches what Old Fair did, because they have to work so wide to get all of the complexity, all of the thought that you can get now by carving on top of a symbol, letting that coalesce, stacking another idea, more magic, more alchemy, more choice. You could build things of infinite complexity that could change the world. Stylus is the idea of a new dimensionality to magic. It has been long forgotten. What you hold now in your hand and in your chair. And the doorknob, I'll just give you for free. Put it in a wall is the thing that you get.
Dumbass.
You know, like a wall, like you would do with a door knob.
Yes.
Where you would put a door.
Any old wall, right?
Any old wall.
I'll start with my own wall. I'll put it, yeah.
Are we with you as you do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brunch.
This girl's
You
grown
have
up.
brunch.
I'm eating a
Are we
bagel.
doing this?
Yeah.
Are we doing this at an IHOP?
What are you doing?
Bagel and lox.
Take a brain. I've decided.
Oh, you.
I should take a brain. I have a scar.
You plug it into the wall, and it resolves into a beautiful, high-arched, 9-foot tall, 4-foot wide door of gilded gold carved in symbols of both magic and decoration, patterns repeating, tessellations, mathematical fractal rotations that you have seen in texts or depictions of the ruins of Old Fair. It's just right here in your house. Turn the knob and open the door, and you alight on a 12 by 12 foot office full of bookcases covered in objects and correspondence and plants, and all of the walls around are covered in symbols, and every symbol is full of text. And you, with that understanding now of the dimensionality of building on top of that, you can feel and understand a little more the layers that are built here. anyone that like looks in or walks in, you can see over the door where the sort of like roof meets the wall at a 90-degree angle. There's a set of symbols that look like a sun rising over that 90-degree angle, and gentle golden light pours from it, illuminating everything. You know, feel the bleed of it. Not sure why. But here, in this little space that belonged to the serious man, there is magic of the size and scale and breathtaking beauty that was always talked about in Old Fair, or hinted at. Not the grandest workings, no, but farther than most have gotten. And there are notes here. And for all of the things covering all of the surfaces of this place, of the busyness of it, the sort of pale yellow wooden desk at the center of the room is pristine and uncovered, shined to a polish, the small scrap of paper sort of at the head where someone would sit at it.
Well, there's a lot to sift through in here, and I will do it, but I will start with that slip of paper.
You go to pick it up, scratch at it. It's connected to the table.
Am I able to read it?
There's nothing written on it.
Where's the syringe?
In the sort of hammer space
Oh,
of
right.
whoever grabs it.
Would it be crazy to, I don't know, use a syringe on the paper to reveal something?
With a dagger.
Or not?
What do you do?
I think the syringe just contains bleed. That's my understanding. Is that right? It's like a bleed extraction.
Yes. And it very specifically interacts, like, it's a syringe. It interacts with, like, flesh.
Okay.
You stab it into something while it's empty. It tanks a point of bleed, and then you have a nasty little bleed gag.
Is everything in this room? I'm poking my head in,
Yeah.
getting crumbs all over the floor. Is everything in the room like a facade? Like, is it all like? Are the shelves just?
You want to make a roll about it,
Wow.
or physically
I'm
interact
just
with
gonna
it?
touch the wall. Like, are they books or are they pictures of books?
They're books.
Okay. It's not all a facade.
Yes.
Well then, yeah, I got shit. I mean, you want to use your fucking dagger on it?
I will write one or two ancient Farron runes on that piece of paper just to test what happens.
What do you use to write the runes?
The same blade I used to enter.
You cut into the paper, and just like with the first nick, you realize you've cut the paper.
Yes.
This is this stylus dagger is behaving as a dagger right now. Because the trick of it is, it layers alchemy on top of it, like existing symbols. So it's a blade until it interacts specifically with alchemy symbols, which is why you've been able to hold on to that dagger of yours for decades and never see its true form. At what point would you have thought to do that?
Let's try this.
Ooh. Oh no. Now that's something I didn't expect to happen. We gotta honor a big flex. You put your blood on the paper, and the desk does what it does. Researches, goes into the files, deep within it, and searches for anything that matches the query. And this was a person whose great working in the moment of triumph failed. And as he jumped overboard to save himself from the sinking ship that he caused, he saw you. And you as a boy. But the blood will out. And he knew, if I wait, Either this man will pop up again, or he will die in obscurity, and the ritual was never going to work anyway. But he spotted you again in the city. And again, when, like him, you hadn't aged. So a file comes up. Grimmick, Oscar, Carrie, Cosmo, and everything he's been able to find about your family appears in ink across the desk, written out like a story of your life for you to see. Any news of the sinking of the ship, references to the fact that you were the survivors. He's found Candela members and interrogated them, the people that came and took your statement after the ship sank. He has their reports, what you said about it. And then over time, over the last 80-some odd years, everything that he has of you, when you went to jail, when you joined Candela, he's been keeping track of you, waiting to meet you again, to figure out the secret of what went right and what went wrong, and if he could take the gift that he was so close to giving himself back. Your blood sinks into the paper and fades. And with that, the ink begins to slowly fade.
What do you know about that? Bring the bagels in. Got a lot to sort through.
Yeah. I'll get seconds.
So I think with that, now having literally unlocked the door of the serious man's secret, and his stash and his storage, that is where we will end tonight's episode. And we will see you again one last time for the finale of the Circle of Tide and Bone.
Boy, oh boy.
Breath is so important in this world. Just take a deep breath in and out. And we will see you again next week. And until then,